Chapter 1261. Battles between Tao insights were usually decided in an instant, but this instant was actually only the perception of outsiders. For the people involved, a battle of Tao will might even last for thousands of years, like a dream, but a dream of 100 years was actually just a short dream. However, a battle of Tao will was different from a dream. The danger of a battle of Tao insights was even greater than a real battle. The slightest mistake would result in one's Tao collapsing and one's death. Even one's primordial spirit would not be able to escape. At the moment when he was struck by old ancestor Chu Ping's Tao sense, a trace of Ning Fan's mind was pulled. He could vaguely feel that it was about to leave his body and was being pulled towards the direction of old ancestor Chu Ping's mental world. Do not fight against this person's Tao will. The Ant Lord warned. With Ning Fan's strength, if he resists this, he would definitely be able to stop his spirit sense from leaving his body and avoid this battle. However, if he accepts the battle of Tao sense, it would be hard to tell whether he would survive or not. The Ant Lord's life was linked to Ning Fan's. Of course, he was unwilling to let Ning Fan take this risk for no reason. He thought to himself, you have a bunch of trump cards on you, including the puppet of the great cultivators, the virtuous umbrella, and the newly comprehended master recognition technique. Even if you are surrounded by many ancient great cultivators, you can still protect yourself. At worst, you will be beaten and flee, but the possibility of losing your life is very small. Why did he have to fight a Tao will battle with others? Wasn't it better to fight with real swords and guns? Sorry, I don't intend to reject this battle. Ning Fan shook his head. Others might choose to refuse this Tao will battle, but he didn't intend to do so. That was because his Tao was stubborn to begin with. He had always fought with toughness to begin with. Throughout his path of cultivation until now, he'd encountered people he couldn't defeat, and he'd fled and hid from them. However, his Tao heart had never had the thought of admitting defeat, nor had he submitted, nor had he ever lowered his head. Tao enforcers could lose, they could retreat, but they could never cower. If he chose to show weakness at this moment and chose to avoid the battle of Tao insights, then a crack would appear in his Tao heart. This crack wasn't impossible to repair, but it would be extremely difficult to repair. Moreover, in this way, his momentum would fall into a disadvantageous position from the very beginning, and he would end up cowering before the battle even started. Perhaps all of this was the true motive behind old ancestor Chu Ping's Tao perception inviting him to battle. He wanted to give Ning Fan a show of strength before the real battle started, to gain the upper hand with a show of strength. No matter what your objective in starting the Tao battle is, I won't avoid this battle. Ning Fan did not restrain his state of mind. Instead, he sneered and released all of his state of mind, completely invading old ancestor Chu Ping's inner world. After Patriarch Chu Ping sent out the invitation for the Battle of Tao Will, he stopped the dragon boat 1,000,000 miles away from Feng Nu clan. With a solemn expression, he observed everything that happened in Feng Nu clan and did not move forward. Unbelievable. This Xiao Jian actually has a way to recognize the Feng lady race's territory and clan formation. He has also used the Feng lady race's purple micro-dipper power to strengthen himself. It's not just the power of the amethyst dough divination. For some reason, the terrain and the heavenly fate of this place are also under his control. Even time and space are showing signs of being under his control. No wonder he was able to kill true monarch Beihai in such a short period of time. To be able to control time, space, geography, and the heavenly fate was already enough to be ranked at the peak of the illusionary world. However, this person was able to control 4 of them. According to common sense, only saints are usually able to do this. Could this young man be a saint? If he isn't a saint, how could he do this? How could he control a saint's Tao mountain at will to suppress others? If he is a saint, why does he only have the magic power of 20,000 tribulations? 2,000 of the tribulations are not even his own. Besides, I don't know why, but I can sense several dangerous qi from his body. Any one of them is enough to threaten me. However, he still has a few of these trump cards. This person seems to have many secrets. It's not wise to start a battle with him without knowing his background. Let's use the Battle of Tao Will to probe his background. If he doesn't dare to accept the battle, I can weaken his aura. If he accepts the battle, I will still have an advantage in this battle of Dao will while he is the guest. It won't be difficult for me to probe his background with this advantage. In just an instant, old ancestor Chu Ping had analyzed the pros and cons of the battle. Just as he was waiting for Ning Fan's response, he was startled when he saw Ning Fan suddenly sending all of his state of mind towards him. I only invited a trace of your state of mind to accept the battle, but you actually sent all of your state of mind. Are you planning to turn the tables? Old ancestor Chu Ping was a little surprised. Indeed. Ning Fan said with a smile. His face did not show the slightest hint of fear in the battle of Dao will. Sigh. It's really a miscalculation. I have never thought that the Dao will perfected sovereign whose name shakes the entire northern heaven is actually a devil cultivator. Old ancestor Chu Ping said with a bitter smile. Why did he say that? Most of the cultivators would adopt a cautious attitude when faced with unknown risks. They would either choose to retreat for a while or choose to be steady and prudent. Very few of them would choose to take the risk and fight with their lives. Only a true devil lord would make such a choice. Only a person with such a personality would have the ability to overcome the various inner devils on the path of the devil and eventually cultivate the devil path to the peak. Before coming here, old ancestor Chu Ping had already calculated with his fingers. He had predicted that Ning Fan's good reputation in the northern heaven had spread far and wide. He was the famous perfected sovereign of Dao will and the role model of all cultivators. That was also the reason why he had the wrong impression about Ning Fan. What he did not know was that it was just a facade on the surface. It was just a rumor spread by word of mouth among the cultivators of the northern heaven. He did not have the slightest understanding of Ning Fan's true nature and essence. No matter how hard he tried, he could not predict it. Therefore, old ancestor Chu Ping had never thought that Ning Fan might be a devil lord from the very beginning. In the end, he made a mistake in the first round of the battle. I was careless and this person actually turned the tables on me. In this case, how this battle of Dao will unfold is no longer under my control. Sigh. Ning Fan walked in the vast expanse of white heaven and earth in a daze. He could not see the path ahead nor the path back. He did not remember that he was in the middle of a battle of Dao will. After all, he was fighting against an ancient great cultivator. Moreover, his opponent was also in a daze at this moment. There was no reason for Ning Fan to be the only one who could remain clear-headed. His opponent was certainly not a weakling. His cultivation base was already above Ning Fan's. Besides, this was a battle that he had issued to Ning Fan and the place of battle was his opponent's mental world. From the very beginning, his opponent had the advantage of the right time, the right place and the right people. Ning Fan, on the other hand, was in an absolutely disadvantageous position right from the beginning. Fortunately, Ning Fan took the risk and released all of his spirit sense unexpectedly, completely invading old ancestor Chu Ping's mental world. Due to a moment of carelessness, Ning Fan allowed old ancestor Chu Ping to invade half of his mental world on the spot. As such, Ning Fan had forcefully seized the advantage of the right time and the right place. However, he was still slightly inferior to his opponent in terms of the right people. After all, his opponent was a genuine great cultivator. As for Ning Fan, putting aside his magic power, he was still inferior to his opponent even after receiving the support of the Ziwei Do number. The biggest difference was still Ning Fan's true cultivation base. Even though Ning Fan had assimilated his ancient divine, ancient demon, and ancient devil cultivation base into his divine spirit cultivation base, he still did not break through to the immortal emperor realm or quasi-saint realm on the spot. In terms of cultivation base alone, he was still an immortal king. In order to break through to the immortal emperor realm or quasi-saint realm, he obviously still needed a lot of insights and a long period of cultivation. Overall, after Ning Fan's reversal, this battle of Dao will was considered to be in a relatively fair state. Who am I? I must remember. I must remember this matter, that's right. I am Ning Fan. I also seem to be called Xiao Jian. Or maybe I am Liu Bei, Zhou Ming or something else. I seem to be doing something extremely dangerous. However, I really can't remember what it is exactly. Ning Fan was really impressive. In just a short period of time, he had roughly remembered who he was. One must know that at this moment, old ancestor Chu Ping had yet to remember who he was from the Battle of Dao Will. He was still lost in the boundless white world. Perhaps, the reason why he could remember him so quickly was related to the fact that he had recklessly acknowledged him as his master. When Ning Fan remembered who he was, he gradually saw the surrounding scenery clearly. What entered his eyes was a surging river. At this moment, he was rowing a boat on the river. The person rowing the boat was an old man with a white beard. His face was wearing a harmless chrysanthemum smile. No matter how Ning Fan looked at him, he found this old man familiar. However, he just could not remember who he was. "May I ask who you are and where is this place?" Ning Fan asked. As soon as he spoke, he realized that his voice was actually that of a child. Strange. My bone age is already several 100,000 years old. Why did I suddenly turn into a dying child? Speaking of which, what exactly is the dangerous thing that I am about to do? I just feel that I have to remember this as soon as possible. Otherwise, I will lose the initiative. While Ning Fan was muttering to himself, he suddenly felt a sharp pain in his head. He had just received a violent blow and a huge bump appeared on his head. "Brat Ning Fan, you really have no manners. Who are you calling old man?" It was the old man rowing the boat who gave Ning Fan a violent blow. Ning Fan tried to explain himself. In the end, he received another violent blow and 2 bumps appeared on his head. "Don't talk back to me. I know that you have studied for a few years and you are used to talking nonsense with me. Unfortunately, it's useless. I won't give you the chance to speak. Don't even think about talking about the great principles of a master being kind and a son being filial to me. I don't understand the great principles. The heavens and the earth are vast but my fist is the strongest. I'm not." Bang! A third bump appeared on Ning Fan's head. He finally learned to shut his mouth obediently. Since he couldn't figure out the situation now, it was better to wait and see. Seeing that Ning Fan no longer spoke, the old man nodded with satisfaction. "You are worth teaching." Then, the old man rowed the boat to the center of the river and let the boat drift with the current. He took out 2 fishing rods, one for himself and the other for Ning Fan. "Why are you giving me this?" Ning Fan wanted to ask but didn't in the end. Because he saw the old man raising his fist as if he didn't like him talking. Thus, he didn't say anything in the end and only glanced at the fishing rod. "I'm giving you a fishing rod, of course, to let you fish." So stupid. Are you people from Wuyu all so stupid? Our Chu people are still smarter. The old man suddenly had a sense of superiority in terms of intelligence. His face once again bloomed with a wretched chrysanthemum smile. "So I am from Wuyu and this old man is from Chu," Ning Fan thought. Looking at the fishing rod in his hand, Ning Fan was suddenly speechless. This fishing rod doesn't have a fish hook. Even if he had to suffer another punch, Ning Fan still had to speak his mind. The strange thing was that after Ning Fan asked this question, the old man didn't give him another bag. Instead, he was also stunned and looked at the fishing rod in his hand with a puzzled expression. There really isn't a fishing rod. Could it be that my cultivation has already reached this stage and I have already touched the threshold of Dao since entering the inverse state? The old man muttered to himself. When he thought that he was about to enter the inverse state, the old man smiled even more happily. Even looking at Ning Fan, the person in his dream, he felt especially close. At this moment, Ning Fan suddenly entered the cabin and found a few fishing hooks. "Old man, there are fishing hooks in the cabin." Damn it. I knew that entering the inverse state of Dao sense wasn't that simple. Sure enough, I'm still far from it. The old man's mood instantly turned bad. Even his eyes were blinking when he looked at Ning Fan. He took the fishing hooks from Ning Fan's hand and gave Ning Fan 2 more hits. Why 2 hits? didn't I just say one hit? I only said one sentence when I gave you the fishing hooks. Ning Fan cursed inwardly. There was one hit just now because I was in a good mood. Now, I've made up for it. The old man said angrily. Ning Fan was speechless. Who exactly is this old man? Not only does he have a weird temper, but he is also very stingy and has a wretched appearance. The most hateful thing is that he actually repaid my kindness with enmity. I gave him the fishing hooks out of kindness, but he actually hit me with his fists. But it's really strange, I vaguely remember my name. I also vaguely remember my personality. I'm definitely not someone who would be bullied by others. Why didn't I get angry after being punched 4 times by this old man? That's right. Ning Fan did not get angry after being punched 4 times by the old man. Instead, he felt very close to him as if he had not seen this old man for many years. Speaking of which, this old man addressed himself as master. Could it be that we are master and disciple? Could it be that I've really acknowledged such an evil master? Thinking in this direction, Ning Fan vaguely felt that he could remember more things. He always felt that he had been strangled by this old man before and asked if he wanted to live or die. That's right. That's exactly what he wanted to remember. Soon. Soon. I'm about to remember who I am. Just a little bit more. Just a little bit more. Ning Fan vaguely grasped the clue of his memories. He could not help but blurt out a sentence. It was a sentence that even he could not understand. Master, I wonder if Master's wife has recovered. Who's Master's wife? Why did I ask this question? Little Ning, this is a very good question. No one knew which part of the old man's nerves had been triggered. Instantly, he became furious and glared at Ning Fan. Then, he gave Ning Fan a 5th smack on the head. You know that I'm an old widower on the Mi Luo River. I started ferrying people here when I was 17 years old. Now that I'm over 60 years old, no woman has ever taken a fancy to me and married me. You just had to ask this question. Very good. Very good. You've even learned to rub salt on the wound. You're not bad. Bang. It was the 6th time. In other words, Master, you've been single for 43 years? Ning Fan was slightly surprised. 60 years old, minus 17, wouldn't it be 43 years? He always felt that he was very sensitive to the number 43, but he did not know why. You still dare to say that? Ayaya, this old man has underestimated you in the past. I didn't know that you're a man who is not afraid of iron fists. Bang! The 7th time. Are you sure it's 43 years? Ning Fan was really concerned about 43 years. He would rather get punched to ask. This time, it was the old man's turn to feel horrified. Even though he was currently comprehending the Tao in his dream, each of his punches and kicks carried true injuries of Tao laws. In other words, his punches could really hurt others through endless dreams. What was the background of this kid called Ning Fan? After suffering 7 punches from his dream, he still dared to challenge him. Needless to say, he really liked this kid's stubborn temper. I like it. Good question. If you ask a few more times, this old man will tell you whether it's 43 years or not. Bang! The 8th time, the 9th time, the 10th time, this old man had hit Ning Fan 43 times in one breath. Aren't you very interested in 43 years? Come, I'll let you forever remember the feeling of having 43 bumps on your head. Ning Fan was convinced and looked at the old man with a look that said, this old man is probably a madman. The old man saw that Ning Fan didn't make a sound after suffering 43 punches in a row. He was shocked and looked at Ning Fan with a look that said, this kid is a good seedling that can be cultivated. Can I speak now? Ning Fan asked. He was no longer afraid of being beaten. Because after suffering 43 punches, he could see that the old man cherished his talent and didn't have the heart to bully him anymore. You can, but I suggest you not to speak too much. This is for your own good. The old man explained. Why is that? I thought you are a resident of this place, but it turns out that you aren't. I only realized this after I punched you 29 times, then why did you still give me 43 punches? Idiot, this is this old man's test for you. You suffered 43 punches in a row and still didn't change your expression. You didn't feel any pain or itch. You have already obtained my approval. This old man thought that you were a passerby in my dream, but now, I really have the intention to take you as my disciple. Do you know who I am? I am the new saint of the true world, the sect master of the Yin and Yang sect, Han. Forget it. You don't need to know my name. You just need to know that my surname is Han. Oh. Ning Fan said expressionlessly. That's it. Old man Han seemed to be very displeased with Ning Fan's reaction. Could it be that this kid doesn't know what it means to be a saint of the true world? Could it be that this kid came from some remote illusory world where even birds don't shit? Or maybe this kid is just an ordinary mortal who entered his dream by chance but doesn't know what kind of good fortune it is to be sincerely taken as a disciple by a saint. You don't want to be my disciple? Old man Han subconsciously thought that Ning Fan's indifference was a tactful rejection. Under normal circumstances, if a saint shows interest in taking you as a disciple, shouldn't you bow to him and show a surprised smile? Why is this kid not surprised at all? Does he really not know how powerful a saint is? So what if I don't want to? Aren't I your disciple in the first place? Ning Fan said with a smile. You're right. In my dream, you're playing the role of the apprentice that I adopted when I was experiencing the life of a boatman. Naturally, you're also considered as my disciple. It seems like I was too naive. Old man Han sighed as if he was sighing at Ning Fan's stupidity. He actually could not tell the difference between a dream and reality. How could the master-disciple relationship in a dream be taken seriously? Once he wakes up from the dream, he would have to return to his original path. What a silly kid. He actually missed the great opportunity to become a disciple of a saint just like that. Just when old man Han was sighing at Ning Fan's stupidity, he suddenly heard the sound of water breaking. It was Ning Fan who had caught a fish. Kid, you're not bad. You've already caught a carp in just a short while. This fish isn't simple at all. It seems to have a trace of the Dao carp clan's bloodline. Unfortunately, it has been too many generations and the bloodline has already faded away. However, this also shows that you're quite lucky. You actually managed to catch a Dao carp. You're indeed worthy of being the disciple that I once fancied and almost accepted as my disciple. Old man Han gave Ning Fan a thumbs up. What he was really thinking was this kid actually caught such a huge fish. If I don't catch an even bigger one, wouldn't I lose to him? Thus, old man Han, who was known as a dignified saint, finally entered his fishing mode seriously. At this moment, old man Han's eyes were as bright as the starry sky. The starry sky in his eyes was moving along the unique path of samsara. It was indescribably magical. His eyes seemed to be able to see through all samsara and karma. He seemed to be able to see through how many fish, prawns, toads and mud were in the Miluo River. He gently waved the fishing rod as if he was not waving the fishing rod but the entire samsara time and space. He captured the karma lines of every fish in this place and predicted the life and death of all the fish. Most of the fish that were about to die were the fish that were about to be caught by someone. This kind of fish was the easiest to be hooked and also the easiest to be caught. Why is there another sound of water coming out? Master, I've caught the second fish. Ning Fan caught another fish. It was a Dao carp that was fatter and bigger than the previous one. Hee. Not bad, not bad. Continue to work hard and catch a few more. Then, you'll be able to catch up to my galloping horse. Old man Han was praising Ning Fan's amazing fishing technique on the surface, but he was secretly cursing in his heart. This kid must have stepped on dog shit, right? It's just a lucky guess. Don't mind him, and so on. Not long after that, Ning Fan caught the third fish. The fourth. The fifth. The 6th. He caught 43 Dao carps in one go. You're promising. Good, good. Not bad, not bad. Keep up the good work. Old Man Han was already extremely jealous of Ning Fan's fishing technique. On the surface, he still had to praise Ning Fan in a serious manner to show that he was magnanimous. How motherfucking annoying. I, on the other hand, can't even catch a single fish even after trying my best. Could it be that these Dao carp sensed my Saint Chi and did not dare to come close to me? Yes, that must be it. These foolish fishes really have a good eye. If they have a better eye and know how many fish they can catch to make me happy, it would be even better if they don't let that brat beside me take another fish. After Old Man Han comforted himself, his mood became much better. When he saw that Ning Fan did not catch any more fish after catching 43 fish, he could not help but feel even happier. This brat really made a wild guess when he caught all the fish before this. Look, I can't catch the 44th fish now, can I? Humans can be lucky for a moment but not for a lifetime. When things come to a critical juncture, it really depends on one's own strength. Old Man Han, who was in a good mood, even took the initiative to pat Ning Fan's shoulder and comforted him with sincere words. Little Ning, don't be discouraged. For us devil cultivators, the most important thing is the state of mind. To be able to rise and fall, to be noble and humble, to be flexible and to have or not to have, is the true devil cultivator. Fishing is fun for a moment and it will always be fun for a long time. However, what if one day you can no longer catch any more fish? That will be the moment when you suffer the greatest blow, and it is also the key to cultivating the devil path. If you can't catch the 44th fish, I will definitely not look down on you. However, if you look down on yourself, then you will no longer be able to cultivate the devil path. Thank you for your advice, Master. After Ning Fan thanked Old Man Han, he pulled the fishing rod and instantly caught the 44th fish. After that, he released the fish back into the river. Actually, I can catch more fish. It's just that I have been thinking about the true meaning of 43 in my heart and I am not willing to catch more fish. I will roast them. Old Man Han really wanted to curse out loud. I have seen people who act cool, but I have never seen someone who is so good at acting. So, the reason why you catch 43 fish is because you only want to catch 43 fish and I catch 0 fish is because I only have the ability to catch 0 fish. Even if you are not willing to catch more fish, you will still be able to catch the 44th fish and you will never be able to return to the mental state of 43. Look at that fish. After it bit your hook, there is a wound on its lips. Even if you release it back into the river, the wound will not be erased and the karma will not disappear. Master, you are wrong. Look at that fish carefully. There is no wound on its mouth because I have already straightened the hook. You mean, you have been fishing with a straight hook? Yes. Have you used bait? No. You can catch as many fish as you want just like that? Yes. Kid, you are really a genius in the art of fishing. Old Man Han was dealt a heavy blow. For the first time in his life, he doubted whether he was a fool or not. However, magic techniques are just a minor Dao. You must not be too obsessed with it. Remember, the most important thing is not the number of fish you catch but the mental state you have when fishing. Look at me, have I ever caught a single fish? Do you know that if I wanted to, the 18,000 fish in the Mi Luo River would all be hooked by me? But so what? Even if I can catch all the carps in this river, how can I catch all the fish in the world? I can't catch all the living beings in the world. A human's strength is limited but the cycle of samsara is endless. That is why I am trying to comprehend the cycle of samsara and improve my Dao sense by fishing and ferrying here. Do you understand now? Old Man Han said in an unfathomable tone. Oh. What he got was still a nonchalant answer. Obviously, Ning Fan did not take Old Man Han's boasting seriously. Obviously, he really understood Old Man Han's temperament. He knew that this foolish old man only knew how to kill and rob people and nothing else. When he concocts pills, his cauldron explodes. When he fishes, he returns empty-handed. Yes. This is the true nature of my master. Strange. Why do I know this person's temperament so well? Speaking of which, the reason why I can catch so many fish is because I have some kind of strange comprehension towards the fish in the river. Today, people fish, but in the future, the heavens fish me. Not only that. Just now, Master said that there are a total of 18,000 fish in this river. I also feel a little curious about this number. While Ning Fan was pondering, a flying dragon suddenly flew towards him from afar. The strange thing was that it seemed like only Ning Fan could see the arrival of the flying dragon. There were also many people of Chu country around this Miluo river. However, these people seemed to be unable to see the flying dragon. None of them heard the majestic aura of the flying dragon. Did this flying dragon use some kind of ability to cover its tracks? Ning Fan thought to himself. The closer the flying dragon got, the more Ning Fan felt that the chi of this dragon had a soul-stirring feeling. It was very strong. Terrifyingly strong. This feeling was definitely not from the second step. This was a flying dragon that was comparable to a Saint Realm flying dragon. However, Ning Fan did not know which stage of the Saint Realm it was at. Brat, why do you have the luck of my clan? The flying dragon hovered above the Miluo River and asked angrily. When it saw Ning Fan catching 43 Dao carps from the river, it became even angrier. Thief! How dare you fish for my Dao carp clan? Apparently, this flying dragon was a product of the Dao carp clan after the carps leaped through the dragon gate. It was really a Saint Realm flying dragon. Moreover, the purpose of its arrival was to obtain the luck of the Dao carp clan. I remember something now. I seem to have killed some experts of the Dao Carp clan for some reason and used some methods to snatch the luck of 1,500 colored beasts from them. This is going to be troublesome. The Saint Realm expert of the Dao Carp clan has come to seek revenge. What should I do? Ning Fan finally felt a little nervous. Old Man Han, who was standing at the side, saw all of his nervous expressions. Immediately, his heart bloomed with joy. Hee hee. I thought you don't know fear. Why are you afraid just because you met an enemy of the incipient Saint Realm in your dream? If that's really the case, there are still many things that you need to be afraid of in the future. As long as this incipient Saint Realm expert marks your dream and comes to you frequently in the future, I'm afraid you won't even dare to sleep anymore. Ha ha ha. I've finally found a place that is stronger than you. Strange. Why doesn't this kid have any trace of a dream realm on him? Could it be that he doesn't have the ability to dream? Or did some supreme existence seal his ability to dream? Cough, I don't think so. Those supreme existences are so bored that they would seal the dream realm of a junior? Sure enough, it's because of this kid. Or perhaps, he came to my dream realm by chance and didn't rely on the Tao path of dreams. Instead, he used a method similar to Tao sense battle or soul battle. That's why he doesn't have any trace of a dream realm. Just as Old Man Han was puzzled, he saw the flying dragon suddenly making its move. It seemed like it wanted to kill Ning Fan on the spot. The dragon spat out a blue dragon pearl from its mouth. All of a sudden, the water element magic power of heaven and earth gathered in the dragon's mouth and formed a great circle of reincarnation. That great circle became more and more solid. In an instant, it turned into a Tao light ball. That light ball contained unimaginable power. Once it hits them, almost no other cultivators would be able to survive, except for experts like Ancient Chaos and Mo Zhong, who had a higher cultivation level than them. This is bad. It seems like I can only block this attack with the virtuous umbrella. I finally remembered the virtuous umbrella, but I still can't remember anything more. Just as Ning Fan was about to take out the virtuous umbrella to fight against the enemy, Old Man Han, who was at the side, acted first. At this moment, Old Man Han's expression was terrifyingly cold. Even though he was happy to see Ning Fan suffer a setback, it was one thing to suffer a setback and another to lose his life. He was a true sage. He could use his Tao Light True Injury to kill people across dreamlands. The flying dragon sage in the sky was probably also proficient in this Tao. If this attack really hits Ning Fan would probably die without a doubt. Even though he did not know what kind of relationship Ning Fan had with the Dao Carp clan, he was still his unmarried disciple after all. Ning Fan was a disciple that he had taken a liking to and had almost accepted as his disciple. A mere primordial saint of the Dao Carp clan actually dared to attack his disciple. Good. Very good. Dao Carp, little thief, you seem to be very confident in your water element Dao light. How about I destroy you with fire? Old Man Han sneered. He opened his mouth and spat out a ray of flame. That flame was as cold as ice at first. Then, it turned into balls of purple golden flames. Eventually, all the purple golden flames turned into black flames. This is the 3-lifetime fire essence technique. As Old Man Han spoke coldly, his black flames soared into the sky. His killing intent was locked onto Fei Long. Fei Long was stunned. Then, he snorted disdainfully. I was wondering who you were. So you're the newly promoted merit saint of the Yin and Yang sect. How foolish, how arrogant. How dare you use fire element Dao light to fight my Dao Carp clan's water. You're really reckless. Fei Long's face was filled with contempt. He spat out the blue light ball of Dao light from his mouth. The light balls suddenly exploded and turned into 100,000 rivers. They swore to drown everything in front of them. However, it was a pity that before the rivers could drown anyone, they were burned into steam by Old Man Han's black flames. Then, they were burned to nothing. Impossible. Water restrains fire. My Dao restrains you. Moreover, my cultivation is higher than yours. Moreover, I achieved Dao by killing corpses. My status is higher than yours. How could it be like this? Fei Long's expression changed drastically. Do you know that my disciple only caught 43 fish because he only wanted to catch this number? Do you know that this old man achieved merit saint because he only wanted to become a saint like this? Who told you that a merit saint is weaker than a corpse slayer saint? I don't believe it. Who told you that fire can't overcome water? I don't believe it. I don't trust anyone. The only thing I trust is my heart. After all, this is a world that exists as long as you believe in it. Old Man Han laughed coldly and soared into the air, chasing after the flying dragon. Raising his hand, Zhang Xian made a grabbing motion, and the black flames in the sky morphed into a gigantic black cauldron, which smashed toward the flying dragon. Boom! The black cauldron struck the flying dragon's skull. Puff! One of the dragon's horns was smashed off on the spot. As it spat out blood, it fell from the sky. When he finally stabilized his falling momentum with great difficulty, Fei Long noticed to his astonishment that his cultivation had actually been sealed for a few eras of reincarnation after merely being struck by the flaming cauldron once. What sorcery was this? How could it be so powerful? How many epochs did he have? If he was hit a few more times, wouldn't he be gravely injured? That thief was too strong. The wind was tight. Humph. I have matters to attend to today, so I won't bother with you. Goodbye. Bullshit. Who do you think you are to argue with me? You still want to escape? Did I allow you to escape? Boom boom boom. Old Man Han chased after it and smashed several cauldrons in a row, smashing the flying dragon until it fled from his dream in a panic. Only then did he return to the ship while cursing and swearing. When Old Man Han saw Ning Fan looking at him with a face full of shock, he immediately felt like acting cool. He kept his fire cauldron and said indifferently with his hands clasped behind his back. It's just a small matter. It's not worth mentioning. You haven't seen anything bigger, so don't be too surprised. Master, does Mistress know that you are so powerful? Ning Fan asked in astonishment. Good lad. How dare you mention this again? Old Man Han's nerves were triggered once again. He was so angry that he raised his hand and gave Ning Fan another knock on the head. Then, with a tone of, I couldn't hold it in, I really couldn't hold it in. Sorry. If you don't like it, you can fight back. Hee hee, Ning Fan giggled foolishly. He felt that it had been many years since he had seen his master. Occasionally getting beaten up like this was quite nostalgic. Forget it, forget it. I won't hit you anymore. You've become stupid. By the way, how did you offend the Dao Carp clan saint? He said that you seized the destiny of the Dao Carp race, could it be true? Aren't you afraid of being condemned by the 10,000 clans of the mountain and sea realm? I don't remember anything. Ning Fan said helplessly. Then what else do you remember? I vaguely remember that I came here to do something very important. Something very important? What exactly is it? Maybe I can remember some clues. Old Man Han frowned. He could also vaguely see that Ning Fan was having a battle of Dao sense with someone. That was why he accidentally entered his dreamland. It was not strange in itself for this young man to be able to enter his dreamland. His dreamland did not have a password. Who wouldn't be able to enter whenever they want to? The fact that the two of them met here could only be attributed to fate. After all, this was a world where those who were fated to meet each other from thousands of miles away. This old man and you are fated. Old Man Han suddenly said something without any rhyme or reason. Ning Fan was stunned. He did not understand what Old Man Han was trying to say. You should be having a battle of Dao sense with someone. Old Man Han continued. So it's actually a battle of Dao sense. Since Senior told me about this, wouldn't I be cheating? After being reminded, Ning Fan recalled some things again. He remembered the battle of Dao sense with old ancestor Chu Ping. However, he still could not recall the specific cause, process, details and past. Cheating? Ha ha ha. You should also be a devil cultivator. Why would you say such a ridiculous thing? We devil cultivators can only snatch what we can't get. If we can't snatch it, we can only snatch it by force. Devils can only survive in this world by deceiving others. As long as it doesn't go against their Dao heart, what's the harm in deceiving everyone in the world? As for cheating, it's really ridiculous. In this world, other than the things that we are obsessed with, there is only life and death. There is no good or evil, good or evil. Deceiving others is not actually considered as deceiving. It can only be said that the enemy is stupid. How can I say that I'm cheating? So you don't have to be afraid. Guan Qiu, I will help you kill one if one of them comes. If two of them come, I will help you kill both of them. Master doesn't have to help me with this. I will deal with it myself. Even though I don't remember the details of this battle, I know myself very well. Since I dared to accept the battle of Dao sense from my opponent, I must have some confidence. Moreover, I have my master reminding me from the side right now and I have recalled too many things. This battle of Dao sense is already in the bag and I don't think I have a fair chance of winning. The only thing I need to wait for is the appearance of that opponent. Ning Fan rejected Old Man Han's offer of help. This made Old Man Han a little disappointed. He still wanted to help Ning Fan a few more times so that he could have more opportunities to act tough. Forget it. It's better to let the juniors handle their own matters. However, if the seniors come to deal with Ning Fan, he would not sit still and do nothing. Sure enough, it's better to encrypt the dreamland to prevent this young man from stirring up too much karma and attracting some powerful opponents. On the other hand, if I can't even deal with him, wouldn't I be sending him to his death in vain? However, based on my understanding of this young man in just a short period of time, even if he encounters some supreme beings in this dream, he should be able to escape unscathed. I don't know why, but I have such confidence in him. I seem to have a deep understanding of this young man's personality, but the reason is still unclear. For the next few days, there were no more big troubles like the Flying Dragon Saint. Old Man Han was also happy to have some peace and quiet. He continued to practice fishing every day. After practicing for 7 days, he finally caught a turtle by luck under Ning Fan's guidance. Immediately, Old Man Han's expression became uneasy. Turtle is a turtle, a tortoise, it doesn't seem to be a good omen to catch this thing. Forget it. At least this thing is very nourishing when I make soup with it. Take it and make it into stew. Old Man Han handed the turtle to Ning Fan to cook. Ning Fan complained in his heart, but he still listened to the order and cooked the turtle soup. Old Man Han tasted a mouthful and was instantly shocked. Kid, you really hid your skills well. Even your cooking skills are so good. Is there anything you don't know? The cycle of samsara is like a circle. The bigger the circle, the more unknowns there will be. I have a lot of unknowns, so, you're indirectly boasting that you're very cool, aren't you? Old Man Han was furious and jealous. Just as he was about to give Ning Fan another thrashing, he suddenly saw a person arriving at the bank of Mi Luo River. His eyes were filled with despair as he stared at the surging river water. He's old ancestor Chu Ping. Ning Fan recognized the person at first glance. Didn't you tell me a few days ago that you don't remember who the enemy is? Old Man Han was displeased. He felt like he was deceived. I really don't remember. Then how did you know his name? I asked about the water of Mi Luo River, the boat oars, the fish that I caught and everything that might be tainted by this person's karma, huh? What are you talking about? Are you speaking human language? Old Man Han did not quite understand what Old Man Han was saying. All in all, I used some special methods and obtained some useful information. Master, you don't have to interfere in the following matters. I will deal with them myself. Master, please pull the boat to the shore. I will go and meet that person. Chapter 1262. Patriarch Chu Ping was in a daze. He walked to the bank of Mi Luo River, looking haggard and haggard. His eyes were filled with a vacant look. Sometimes he looked at the river, sometimes he looked at the distant mountains, sometimes he looked at his own reflection in the river. Everywhere he looked, everything was tainted with boundless sorrow. The originally clear and cloudless sky suddenly became gloomy and dusky, and a continuous rain began to fall. The green mountains in the distance suddenly lost all color and turned gray. The originally beautiful Miluo River suddenly lost all its vitality. The river water turned into a rapid current, slapping the shore with raging waves. Just like Patriarch Chu Ping's heart, he could not calm down at all. Sigh. Why did it suddenly rain all of a sudden? There had been many Chu people fishing and working by the river. Seeing the weather change, they all ran to a grass hut by the river to hide from the rain. However, Patriarch Chu Ping did not take shelter from the rain. Like an unusual creature, he stood right in the middle of the rain, completely out of tune with the world. Seeing this scene, some of the people hiding from the rain in the straw huts sneered, while others sighed repeatedly. Could it be that the third minister is really as crazy as the rumors say? It's raining, yet you don't even bother to hide. Aren't you afraid of getting sick? Watch your words. The third minister is a noble of Chu. He is just grieving. How dare you say that he has gone mad? The news of In Capital's destruction is a huge blow to him, how pitiful. If the late king was willing to listen to the advice of senior minister San Lu, how could our Chu country end up like this? Look over there, there's a little kid who hasn't taken shelter from the rain. He doesn't even know how to take shelter on a rainy day. Could he be an idiot too? The little doll that everyone was referring to was none other than Ning Fan, who had transformed into a child. Ning Fan went ashore and slowly walked along the riverside. From time to time, the water splashed down and dripped onto his body, but he did not bother to wipe it off. The rain fell on him, but he did not dodge. It was as if his body was one with the Tao, as if he had become one with the rain. It was as if the rain was a part of him. Be it the splashes or the rain, they were all cold. Even with Ning Fan's cultivation base, he still felt a bone-piercing chill. What was cold was not the rain or water, but the Tao intent and grief that permeated it. This person is my opponent in the Tao sense battle. This person's Tao sense is very strong. This person's cultivation has clearly not reached the third step, but his Tao intent is so strong that it has faintly reached the third step. Ning Fan's expression did not change, but he was a little surprised. This haggard, despairing, and sorrowful old man was actually such a powerful figure. His cultivation hadn't reached the third step, but his Tao insight was extremely powerful. If he's at his peak, then even if I occupy all sorts of advantages, I would only have a 50% chance of winning this Tao insight battle. 3 points would be a draw, and the remaining 2 points would be a loss. Unfortunately, there's nothing more sorrowful than a dead heart. This person's heart is already dead. Thus, his Tao sense has lost all warmth. It's not difficult to defeat such a dejected Tao sense. Green light flickered in Ning Fan's eyes. Although he didn't remember who he was, he could use some of his divine abilities instinctively. Old ancestor Chu Ping acted as if he did not see Ning Fan, who was standing in the distance. He did not remember that he was currently in a battle of Tao will. He only remembered half of who he was. He only remembered the first half of his life, but he couldn't remember the second half of his life. In the first half of his life, he was Chu Ping, the third minister of Chu, a sinner who was exiled twice. But what crime did he commit? He. If it was a crime to be loyal and direct, if it was a crime to be unwilling to associate with the filthy world, then he was really guilty of the most heinous crime. If it was in the past, he still hoped that the king of Chu would come to his senses and understand his loyalty. Then, he would be able to save the declining fate of the country, but now, everything was not important anymore. The moment the capital of Chu was breached, his heart was completely dead. The king abandoned the capital and fled in panic. Although the current Chu country was still safe for the time being, the moment the capital was breached, the fate of the country had been completely taken away by the Qin people. The fate of the country was gone, and the fate of the country was exhausted. The divine continent would fall into the hands of the Qin people sooner or later. This was fate. It was too difficult to resist it. What else can I do? What can I do? Don't tell me you want me to die for the country. Ha ha ha, it's so easy to die for the country. As long as the king summons me, even if the fate of Great Chu is exhausted, I'm willing to follow the king and die for the country. Carrying a long sword and a bow, my head and body are separated, but my heart will not be punished. My heart is kind. Even if I have to die 9 times, I will not regret it. What a pity. How hateful. How sad. Until now, the king still doesn't need me and treats me like grass. My loyalty has always been wishful thinking. Patriarch Chu Ping's sorrowful thoughts were getting more and more sorrowful. He walked crazily by the river. Sometimes he sighed, sometimes he screamed, and sometimes he recited sorrowful and heroic poems. In the straw hut in the distance, some people laughed at him, some sympathized with him, and some pitied him. But no one could understand him. What a pity. The third minister of Chu's body was already weak. After being drenched by the rain, he became even more deranged. Sighs could be heard coming from the straw hut. Not good. Why is he getting closer and closer to the river? Could it be that he wants to jump into the river? Some of them noticed something was wrong. Immediately, a few men rose to their feet and rushed out of the straw hut, trying to stop Patriarch Chu Ping from jumping into the river. However, they could not get close to him. Patriarch Chu Ping's Tao sense was too strong. It was impossible for a few mortals to pass through his layers of Tao sense and get close to his body. His aura was as if the heavens would not allow him to die if he wanted to live. If he wanted to die, the heavens would not allow him to live either. Hee. Why don't I just go back? Why don't I just go back? Patriarch Chu Ping stepped into the river. When Ning Fan saw that his opponent actually took the initiative to seek death, he was stunned at first. Then, he fell into deep thought and his expression changed slightly. He took a quick step forward, trying to stop Chu Ping from drowning himself in the river. Why? It turned out that although Patriarch Chu Ping did not want to be in the Tao sense battle, he had the thought of seeking for death at this moment. If Patriarch Chu Ping really succeeded in seeking for death, Ning Fan would be considered to have lost. This is the first level of Tao sense of this old man. I name it Miluo. At this moment, Ning Fan seemed to have been touched. He recalled many things. He recalled what Patriarch Chu Ping said before the Dao Sense battle began. Since he mentioned the first level of Dao Sense, there must be a second level of Dao Sense or even a third or fourth level of Dao Sense. In other words, this Dao Sense battle would not only have one confrontation. It was highly likely that there would be many confrontations. What Ning Fan was facing now should be the first confrontation of Dao Sense. He must defeat this man's intention to jump into the river and commit suicide. Rumble.it was the sound of Ning Fan's Dao Sense and Patriarch Chu Ping's Dao Sense clashing intensely. Ordinary people could not get close to Patriarch Chu Ping, but Ning Fan could. He was forcefully advancing forward while withstanding the boundless Dao Sense of Patriarch Chu Ping. The momentum of the collision of Dao Sense was extremely great. However, ordinary people could not see this scene. The people in the straw hut could only see a fisherman walking slowly towards Patriarch Chu Ping. Then, they felt a strong gust of wind and thunder rumbling across heaven and earth. However, the strange thing was that they could not see the shadow of lightning at all. They thought to themselves, could it be that the thunder is coming from somewhere far away? The closer Ning Fan got to Patriarch Chu Ping, the greater the obstruction of the Dao Sense he faced. The collision of their Dao Sense became more and more intense. It actually showed signs of breaking through heaven and earth of this world. If heaven and earth were to collapse, this Dao Sense battle would probably end in a draw. Humph! Little heaven and earth. Did I allow you to collapse? Seeing that this Dao Sense battle would probably end in a draw due to the collapse of heaven and earth, one of them was displeased. Far away, Old Man Han stood on the fishing boat. His face was filled with displeasure as he glared at the vast heavens and earth. With just a gaze, the yin and yang qi of heaven and earth were forcefully locked, preventing heaven and earth from collapsing. With little Ning's personality, he definitely won't be happy to end this Dao Sense battle like this. Old Man Han muttered to himself. Deep down, he was feeling rather puzzled. He could not understand why he knew Ning Fan's personality so well. There were still 10 steps left. 9 steps. 8 steps. Ning Fan was getting closer and closer to Patriarch Chu Ping. Even though Patriarch Chu Ping's Dao Sense was strong, it could not stop him from getting closer. 3 steps. 2 steps. 1 step. Ning Fan finally arrived in front of Patriarch Chu Ping. He also stepped into the river and pulled Patriarch Chu Ping back. Almost at the same time when Ning Fan stopped Patriarch Chu Ping from jumping into the river, the two Dao Senses that were clashing against each other in heaven and earth ended their collision. The winner had been decided. Ning Fan won. However, it could only be considered as him winning one round. The competition of this Dao Sense battle was definitely not just limited to this round. Being in the lead for a while did not mean that Ning Fan would be the final winner. Little kid, why did you stop me? Patriarch Chu Ping asked in surprise. It seemed like he did not realize that he had unintentionally released his boundless Dao Sense. He also did not know that a Dao Sense battle had broken out between him and Ning Fan. He did not remember anything at all. Everything happened in an unconscious state. Just by releasing his Dao Sense unconsciously, he is already so strong. If this person is conscious and his Dao heart is not dead, what kind of state would he be in? Ning Fan suppressed the heaviness in his heart. At this moment, since the other party did not remember that he was his opponent, he would not take the initiative to reveal his identity. He cupped his fists politely, as if he was really just an ordinary fisherman. Then, he asked, "Aren't you the third minister of the imperial court? Why did you come here to seek death?" Obviously, Ning Fan had heard the discussions about old ancestor Chu Ping from the passers-by and found out that he was the third minister of the imperial court. It was just an ordinary question. However, it made old ancestor Chu Ping's eyes look even more dazed. He felt as if he had been in a different world. It was as if the same scene had already happened a long time ago. There was also someone who asked him the same question when he was contemplating about jumping into the river. Zifei is the third minister of the imperial court. Why did he have to go to this extent? Strange. Child, you are still young. You still don't understand the difficulties of the world. There is a kind of pain that is more torturous than death. That is, when the whole world is dirty, I am the only one who is clear. When everyone is drunk, I am the only one who is sober. Ning Fan frowned slightly. Initially, he thought that he had already defeated his opponent's intention of jumping into the river. However, he realized that his opponent still had the desire to die in his words. His victory just now did not leave a single crack in old ancestor Chu Ping's Tao heart. It did not even make his Tao heart waver. What is drunk? What is awake? Ning Fan remained silent for a while and suddenly asked. Chu Ping was stunned. He studied Ning Fan seriously, seemingly curious as to why Ning Fan would ask such a question. When Chu Ping saw that Ning Fan's face was filled with seriousness and did not seem like he was just asking a random question, he felt curious. It was rare for him to have a conversation with Ning Fan. In ancient times, there was a Lin heir whose name was Xiang Tua. He became the master of a saint at the age of 7. Now, it seems like you are not an ordinary child. I'm afraid you want to debate with me by asking this question. If that's the case, I will chat with you for a bit before I seek death. You asked me what is drunk. What is awake? This question has reminded me of some past events. When I was young, I once passed by the dreamy cloud swampland and met a god. At that time, this god was drinking wine in the clouds, shining as brightly as the sun and the moon. I was delighted to see this god and went forward to ask him about it. However, this god did not say much to me. He just descended from the clouds, holding the wine in his hand. He pointed at the wine in his cup and said, "All living beings lead a befuddled life and dream of death." After that, he drifted away. At that time, I naturally did not understand it. But now, I vaguely understand it. Being drunk is life. Dreaming is death. There are people of the Yin world who live in the illusory dream world that is endlessly far away. There are also countless immortals and deities of the true world who live forever. However, they live in a drunken state for the rest of their lives and have never truly sobered up. Some of them can't wake up and some of them just drift with the flow, unwilling to wake up. Can my answer satisfy you? Chu Ping answered. His expression was filled with endless nostalgia, as if he was recalling the scenes when he met that god that day. Not satisfied. Ning Fan shook his head. Why? Because this is the answer of that god in the clouds, not yours. Since you said that you are sober and all living beings are intoxicated, you must have your own conclusion. Hee hee. What a clever little fellow. However, I can't brush him off with just a few words. Chu Ping smiled bitterly. It seems like I have to waste some time talking to this child today. Little brother, have you ever seen a drunk person? The more drunk a person is, the more they will say that they are not drunk, which means that they are really drunk. However, there are also some people who are clearly awake but pretend to be drunk for various reasons. The human heart is unpredictable. How can you tell who is really drunk and who is pretending to be drunk with just a pair of eyes? Please forgive me for what I said just now. When I said that I am sober and all living beings are intoxicated, it was probably just my drunken words. As for being sober, I don't know what is sober and I don't know who is truly sober. I can't even tell whether I am sober or drunk. Perhaps, I can only know the truth after dying once. Is my answer satisfactory to you this time? Not bad. Just not bad. Little brother, your requirements are really strict. Chu Ping smiled casually and did not take it seriously. It's because these words seem right but are actually wrong. They are still not the words in your heart. Ning Fan could communicate with all living beings. He could roughly tell whether a person was speaking the words in his heart or not. Oh. Little brother, you seem to know me very well. According to what you said, what are the words in my heart? Chu Ping was greatly surprised. This time, he really treated the child in front of him as an equal. It's not that you know that I am the only one who is sober when all living beings are intoxicated. After all, this is a world that exists as long as you believe in it. Ning Fan's words were like a sudden clap of thunder, exploding in Chu Ping's heart. His eyes were filled with astonishment. It was the first time in his life that his heart was directly exposed by someone. After taking a closer look, little brother seems to be a little familiar. Have we met somewhere before? Chu Ping asked in puzzlement. Perhaps. Ning Fan naturally would not take the initiative to say that he was his opponent in the Battle of Dao Sense. Then, he asked another question. What is pure? What is turbid? There is a saying in the Tao. The pure will rise while the turbid will sink. The sky is pure. This land is turbid. Chu Ping answered. This is not what you really think. Ning Fan shook his head and said. However, it is what everyone in the world thinks. If everyone in the world has the same thought, what's the use of my own thought? Chu Ping asked in return. Do you want to seek your own death just because your Tao is different? Ning Fan asked. If our Tao is different, we would rather die. Oh. I heard that your words are filled with stubbornness. I see. Fellow Taoist cultivates the Tao of persistence. Ning Fan probed and seemed to have confirmed something. It turned out that this old ancestor Chu Ping in front of him was also a Tao of persistence. He was a stubborn person. If you are not afraid of death, why would you be afraid of life? Ning Fan was trying to persuade Chu Ping to give up the thought of seeking death. Little friend, are you going to argue with me about who's better and who's worse? If that's the case, I'm afraid we are going to stray from the topic. Let's continue talking about purity and turbid. Chu Ping said with a smile. This smile was truly from the bottom of his heart. He was happy that he had met a true Taoist. I'm willing to hear your opinion. Ning Fan nodded his head and stopped talking about life and death. The rain in the sky became even heavier. Both of them returned to the shore and sat on the ground despite the heavy rain. It was as if they were going to discuss the Tao while sitting down. Since fellow Taoist wants to hear my point of view, then I will tell you. What is pure and what is turbid? Isn't the answer written on it from the very beginning? Whether it is pure or turbid, everything we are talking about is water. This water is clear and this water is also turbid. As he spoke, Chu Ping pointed at the Mi Luo River. When the wind is calm and the waves are calm, the water in this river is clear. When the wind and the waves rise, the mud and sand will roll and turn into turbid water. Water is the clearest but it is also the most turbid. The same goes for the Tao. Water has two sides, clear and turbid. The Tao also has two sides, clear and turbid. The sky can be the sky, but if the heaven and earth are reversed, the so-called sky will become the earth. Those who are pure rise not because they are pure, but because they rise to the sky. Only then can they become pure. Please forgive me for what I said before. I said that the world is turbid and I am the only one who is pure. However, the truth might be the exact opposite. In the eyes of the people, perhaps only the Tao of persistence is the world's turbid. Ha ha ha. What is pure? Those who are pure will be pure. The rain was getting heavier. Chu Ping was laughing in the heavy rain like a madman. The people in the thatched hut sighed when they saw him. It seems like the third minister has really gone mad. I have yet to ask for fellow Taoist's opinion. In fellow Taoist's opinion, what do you think is pure and what is turbid? After Chu Ping laughed, he changed the topic and asked Ning Fan. I have already told you my opinion. Could it be that fellow Taoist has forgotten that this is a world that can exist as long as you believe in it? Ning Fan said with a smile. Ha ha ha. That's great. It's time to drink it. Chu Ping became happier. He looked at the child in front of him with a sympathetic gaze. It was not the child that he was looking at. Instead, it was the soul that was hiding under the body of the child. Is this the ancient great cultivator Zhao Jian whose name shook the entire northern heaven? He's really an outstanding person. However, it turned out that Chu Ping had already recalled everything after the conversation. Even Ning Fan also recalled everything during this confrontation. This was originally a battle of Dao sense where life and death must be determined. However, be it Chu Ping or Ning Fan, neither of them was willing to risk their lives to fight. An elderly man and a young fisherman were sitting by the river, chatting amidst the rain. It was indescribably harmonious. Do you have any wine? Chu Ping asked Ning Fan. We can't bring wine with us during the Battle of Dao Sense. Ning Fan said with a smile. It's all right. This is easy. Chu Ping rose to his feet and walked towards the straw hut not far away. He then asked the few men in the straw hut. Everyone, do you have any wine? Can you lend me a pot? I only have realgar wine that can expel insects and detoxify. The few men were afraid that Chu Ping would go crazy. Thus, they had no choice but to lend him a pot. Do you have wine cups? Chu Ping asked again. I only have a few broken bowls, the broken bowls are enough. Lend me this wine and this bowl. I will repay you in my next life. Chu Ping glanced around and coincidentally saw that the few of them had some karma with him in his next life. Thus, he expressed his gratitude with a solemn expression. Cough cough, it's just some wine. How can I accept the thanks of Dr. San Lu? The few men smiled bitterly. What afterlife? They did not believe in such a ridiculous statement at all. It's just a pot of wine from Dr. San Lu. Since the doctor was planning to commit suicide, this pot of wine would be a farewell wine for him. If they offend this mad doctor, he might come to haunt them after he turns into a ghost. Hiss. Just thinking about it sent chills down their spines. Thus, the wine was also available. However, this wine was realgar wine that could expel insects and detoxify. The wine utensils were also available. However, these utensils were just a few broken bowls with mud stains on them. However, in Ning Fan's eyes, this wine was incomparably precious. You are a great cultivator from the ancient times. Your karma is extremely heavy. Just to treat me to a wine, you have already promised several people karma. Aren't you afraid that it will affect your Tao? Ning Fan sighed. Even quasi-saints were afraid of the karma of the mortal world like snakes and scorpions, let alone a great cultivator from the ancient times. Chu Ping stroked his white beard and smiled without replying. As the host, he should do his duty as a host. Thus, he had already taken the initiative to pour the wine for Ning Fan. Thank you for the wine, master. Ning Fan did not care about the dirt on the bowl. He lifted the bowl and drained it in one gulp. Fellow Taoist, you're being too courteous. I should be the one thanking you. Today, I had a great time discussing the Tao with you. It helped me relieve the depression in my chest. Unfortunately, what I encountered today were just illusions in the battle of Tao sense. If I had met you in the past, perhaps I wouldn't have chosen to jump into the river. As he spoke, Chu Ping unsheathed his sword and sang while playing with it. When I enter, I say nothing. When I leave, I say nothing. I ride the returning wind and carry the flag of cloud. Don't be sad. Life is parting. Happy, happy, new acquaintance. When he finished singing, Chu Ping rose to his feet and threw his sword into the Mi Luo River. Then, he said in a carefree manner. I've lost this battle. He actually took the initiative to admit defeat in the Battle of Dao Sense. The Battle of Dao Sense between us has just begun. How can you say the result so easily? Ning Fan frowned. After discussing the Tao and drinking a pot of wine, he had a good impression of this old ancestor Chu Ping. If someone else takes the initiative to admit defeat, he would be more than happy to get a free victory. However, he was unwilling to take advantage of old ancestor Chu Ping. Fellow Taoist has defeated my first level of Tao sense. This is your first victory. Fellow Taoist has seen through my true Tao heart several times. This is your second victory. I can't even hide my deepest Tao heart from you. How can my Tao sense surpass yours? Fellow Taoist will easily find my flaws and defeat me. I might as well take the initiative to admit defeat and avoid humiliation. These are not my true thoughts. Ning Fan shook his head and said. Ha ha ha. Indeed, I can't hide anything from you. Just as you expected, other than the first level of Mi Luo sense, I also have the second level of Li Sa sense and the third level of Nine Song sense. This is the Li Sa sense. Old ancestor Chu Ping's Tao sense suddenly changed. His Tao insight didn't feel cold at all, and it instantly became unpredictable. Under the influence of his Tao sense, the scenery of heaven and earth changed again. The rainstorm stopped. In the gloomy sky, a strange phenomenon of the sun and the moon shining at the same time appeared. Countless massive stars emerged between heaven and earth. All of a sudden, the stars began to transform and turned into star characters that floated in the sky. There were a total of over 2,800 star characters. They emanated an unimaginable aura of Tao sense. Like an ancient Tao scripture, they hovered in the sky with supreme Tao laws lingering on them. With this Li Sa sense, I would even dare to fight against a primordial divine being. Unfortunately, fellow Taoist knows my Tao heart. I'm afraid it won't be too difficult for you to break my Tao sense. What's the point of using it? As soon as he finished speaking, Chu Ping retracted his Tao sense. However, he did not continue to display the third level of Tao sense. Why don't you display the Nine Song sense? Ning Fan asked. I'm still cultivating this Tao sense. I can't control it freely yet. If I use it, even if there are saints here to maintain it for us, I'm afraid it will still be difficult for us to achieve a result. Heaven and earth will still collapse and we can only end up in a draw in this world. If I use this Tao sense in the outside world, the damage would be too great. I'm afraid half of northern heaven would collapse because of this Tao sense. You and I aren't mortal enemies. There's no need for us to fight to that extent. Not only are we not mortal enemies, but we are also extremely good drinking buddies. Ha ha ha. That was what he really meant. However, old ancestor Chu Ping did not say it out loud. Even though he did not say it out loud, Ning Fan could understand what he meant. He could only shake his head helplessly. Even though you didn't use the Nine Song sense, I could see some clues and I know how powerful this Tao sense is. Let's just consider our battle as a draw for the time being. Thus, a Tao insight battle that was approaching menacingly had ended anticlimactic just like that. As soon as the battle of Tao sense ended, Ning Fan naturally could not continue staying in this world. He did not even have the time to bid farewell to Old Man Han. His Tao sense had already flown away and disappeared. Stinky brat. He actually left without saying goodbye. Old Man Han cursed. Inwardly, he felt as if he had lost something. Strange. Strange. I clearly just met a stinky brat in my dream that I slightly took a liking to him and almost took him in as my disciple. Why do I feel so reluctant to part with him when he leaves? Could it be that I've also reached the age where my teacher's love overflows? Fine. After I wake up from this dream, I'll go and take a few disciples that I like and increase the popularity of my sect. Chapter 1263. To Ning Fan and Chu Ping, the battle of Tao sense had lasted for a long time. However, to the outside world, it was just a brief confrontation. Even though the two of them shook hands and ended the battle in a draw, the moment their Tao sense returned to their bodies, the clash of their Tao laws and the aftermath of the battle were still produced. At the center where their Tao sense met, time and space seemed to have frozen for a moment. Then, tremors appeared and spread in all directions. At this moment, the space seemed to be collapsing. Time became stagnant and delayed. Countless cultivators who were watching the battle were sent flying away while coughing out blood. The boundless seawater was evaporated by their Tao sense, forming a huge hole. The immortal emperors of the 10,000 clans in the Realm River were shocked. Is this really a battle of Tao sense at the Grand Cultivation Realm? It's just the aftermath, but it has such terrifying power. I really don't know how dangerous it will be if I'm in it. Many members of the Feng Nu clan were also sent flying by the aftermath of the Dao sense. Thus, Ning Fan pointed his finger and secretly used the heaven sealing technique to stop the aftermath of the Dao sense that was heading towards the Feng Nu clan. Then, he waved his sleeve and the aftermath immediately disappeared. Next, he raised his hand and a silver river appeared between heaven and earth. Endless black starlight shone from it, healing the injuries of some members of the Feng Nu clan. He was using the black star technique again. On the other side, old ancestor Chu Ping also withdrew the aftermath of the Dao sense. He looked around and sighed softly. Of course, the aftermath in front of him was not something that a grand cultivation realm battle of Dao sense could cause. His Dao sense had already surpassed the second step. Its power was unpredictable. Even if it was only at the first level of Dao sense, the consequences would be unimaginable once he loses control of it. Fortunately, he did not fight Ning Fan to the death in the battle of Dao sense. Otherwise, half of the northern heaven would be destroyed. Chu Ping stood on the dragon boat and activated his ability. The boat instantly turned into a ray of light. In a flash, it had already traveled across a vast distance and arrived at the Feng Nu clan. Even though the space of the Feng Nu clan had been recognized by Ning Fan as its master, he did not stop Chu Ping from coming. Therefore, Chu Ping's action did not take much effort. When the few immortal emperors of the Realm River saw Chu Ping descending to them, they were overjoyed. Junior Lu Xian of the Profound Conch clan greets Senior Chu Zi. Junior Gu Tao of the Silver Wave clan greets Senior Chu Zi. Junior, in the face of the greetings from the immortal emperors, Chu Ping just nodded his head lightly as a return gesture. His eyes had always been fixed on Ning Fan, who was not far away from him. Although it seemed as calm as a calm lake, it was actually filled with hesitation. At this moment, he was no longer willing to fight against Ning Fan. However, he was a member of the myriad of races after all. How could he sit back and watch the enemy's great cultivator? Moreover, Ning Fan still had the titled Pill of the Rain Master in his hands. This item was of great significance to the myriad of races. It couldn't be ignored. Chu Ping did not recognize the 10,000 spirit blood. Therefore, in his opinion, the strange pill concocted by Ning Fan should be something similar to a titled pill. Fighting again was not his intention. However, this titled elixir was extremely valuable to the myriad races in the Boundary River. Right when Chu Ping was hesitating, a cold and emotionless voice suddenly drifted out from a place where no one was around. What was the outcome of this battle? Almost at the same time, another ancient cultivator appeared in the Feng Nu tribe. He was the one who had spoken earlier. How lucky! Even Senior Lai Zi has come. The cultivators of the foreign races were overjoyed. The second ancient cultivator who came was the leader of the three platform Star Lords, Lai Yuko, who was called the white-haired immortal monarch by the people. Where did this person come from? Why is his existence so vast? Before Ning Fan could feel anything about Lai Yuko, the Lord Ant who was sealed in his sea of consciousness exclaimed in surprise. As a dignified saint, she actually felt a sense of reverence towards this ancient great cultivator in front of her. The source of her reverence had nothing to do with cultivation base or strength. It was related to his existence. Lai Yuko's existence was too vast. It was like a boundless ocean or a boundless mountain. It gave off a feeling that was almost indestructible. Under normal circumstances, even a nirvana saint or desolate saint would not be able to cultivate such a vast existence. However, the person in front of her did. It was really unimaginable. However, the Lord Ant did not know that Lai Yuko's origin was not trivial. In fact, he was transformed from a strand of white hair of immortal sovereign Ziwei. As a white-haired immortal sovereign, Lai Yuko's existence was naturally vast and boundless. It was not strange at all. Just when I was hesitating, this person came. Chu Ping sighed inwardly, but his expression remained the same. What's the outcome of this battle? Lai Yuko's previous question was still reverberating between heaven and earth. That kind of reverberation was endless. If no one gave him an answer, it would continue forever. Thus, Chu Ping answered. I lost this battle of Dao sense. He did not claim that it was a draw like what Ning Fan had said. If you lost, why didn't your Dao heart be damaged? Lai Yuko said expressionlessly. Chu Ping did not answer him. Even though Lai Yuko did not personally participate in the battle of Dao sense, he seemed to have seen through everything. He had already guessed that Chu Ping did not use his full strength in this battle of Dao sense. Even though he did not know the reason, he did not continue to question him. Lai Yuko's gaze shifted to Ning Fan. It was just a simple gaze, but Ning Fan had the illusion that millions of galaxies were bombarding him. There are actually so many experts in the foreign races. Ning Fan was secretly shocked, but his expression did not show it at all. He did not avoid Lai Yuko's gaze either. Instead, he also looked at him. Their gazes met. Rumble. Rumble.it was as if millions of meteors were crashing into Ning Fan's sea of consciousness. However, his sea of consciousness was protected by endless divine light. It was as indestructible as an ancient deity's. Lai Yuko's unchanging expression seemed to have loosened a little. It was as if he was surprised by the fact that Ning Fan was not afraid of his gaze. At this moment, the offensive and defensive positions were suddenly reversed. Ning Fan's eyes were like the starry sky. Suddenly, they shone with dazzling starlight. Following Ning Fan's will, Lai Yuko immediately felt endless starlight piercing into his eyes and attacking his sea of consciousness. He has only cultivated 43 Dao Law stars, huh? Lai Yuko was not bothered by the starlight that pierced into his body. In an instant, he was able to determine the number of Dao Law stars that Ning Fan had cultivated. If this is all he has, this person is not worth mentioning. Lai Yuko made a judgment in his heart. At this moment, Ning Fan's eyes changed again. His eyes were no longer pure starry sky. The starry sky in his eyes suddenly gave birth to two balls of fire. One was bright and the other was dark. The dark ball of fire was slightly weaker. It was surrounded by the chi of an ancient devil spirit. The bright ball of fire had an unparalleled might. It was like a glimpse of an ancestral divine spirit. A crack actually appeared in the starry sky in Lai Yuko's eyes. He could not bear the might of a divine spirit in Ning Fan's eyes. Even if he was a strand of white hair in the Saint Defire realm, he was still not the true Saint Defire. Eventually, Lai Yuko shifted his gaze away from Ning Fan's eyes. It was a simple avoidance, but it was a silent declaration that he had suffered a small loss in Ning Fan's hands in the first confrontation. Unfortunately, ordinary people could not even look directly into Lai Yuko's eyes. How would they know that there was a crack in the starry sky in Lai Yuko's eyes? Chu Ping, however, saw it. You're actually injured. Chu Ping was extremely shocked. This person's existence is 10 times stronger than mine. I can't underestimate him. Lai Yuko's face was still expressionless. Even though he lost to Ning Fan's gaze, he did not show any extra emotions. 10 times? Are you sure? Chu Ping became even more surprised. My judgment is that it's only a little less. Lai Yuko said. Since this person's existence is so vast, he might be able to help us. After Chu Ping recovered from his shock, he suddenly became delighted. It seemed like he wanted to make a suggestion. However, before he could finish his words, Lai Yuko stopped him. Chu Ping, you should know that the assumption you made just now doesn't have the slightest possibility. The prophecy of Lord River Earl is the only one that is absolutely correct. Chu Ping fell into silence again. Lai Yuko walked towards Ning Fan step by step. In the Feng Nu clan, Ning Fan had acknowledged both time and space as his master. Therefore, every step Lai Yuko took was extremely strenuous. The distance between him and Ning Fan was getting closer and closer. His speed was getting slower and slower. The aura force on his body was rising continuously. Countless people fainted from his aura force. I've clearly acknowledged the space and time of this place as its master, but I actually can't stop this person from approaching. Even though Ning Fan was surprised by Lai Yuko's means, he was not afraid of the aura force. He released the aura force of the divine and devil spirits at the same time. Instantly, more people fainted. Even the immortal emperors at the scene felt that it was difficult for them to breathe and their heads were dizzy. All of them looked at each other in shock. They felt that there was no room for them to intervene in a confrontation of this level. It was unnecessary for them to stay here for even a moment longer. However, the space and time of this place was under Ning Fan's control. They could not leave even if they wanted to. After reaching a distance of 10 zhang from Ning Fan, Lai Yuko no longer moved forward. He stopped in his tracks, stretched out his right hand, and opened it, as if he was asking for something. Give me the Rain Master's pill you refined, and I can write off the karma between you and the myriad races. His tone was neither forceful nor expectant, as if he was simply stating a matter. I refuse. Ning Fan replied. Although you're not at the Grand Cultivator realm, your techniques aren't inferior to them. If possible, I don't want to fight you. If you have any conditions, you can raise them, but this pill must be returned to the myriad races, said Lai Yuko. This pill is a little special. I can't simply give it to others. Ning Fan shook his head. Something like the 10,000 spirit blood was related to the secrets of ancient gods, so he would not give it to an outsider. Since that's the case, I can only invite you to my humble abode as a guest for the time being. However, a bright light suddenly appeared on Lai Yuko's open palm. The light was like a seed that grew with the wind, and in an instant, it had grown into a magic treasure that was enshrouded in purple light. It was a pearl. Its name was the Treasure Wisdom Pearl. It was a mid-grade innate magic treasure. Lai Yuko flicked his finger and the Treasure Wisdom Pearl turned into a ray of light, shooting towards Ning Fan. After a flash, the treasure turned into the size of a millstone. Purple runes were rolling on its surface and balls of purple lightning appeared on its surface. Since Ning Fan did not know the details of this treasure, he naturally would not allow it to touch him. He raised his hand and summoned the sea-defying sword. Wherever the sword light reached, it was locked in a fierce battle with the Treasure Wisdom Pearl. This man actually managed to block Senior Lai Zi's Treasure Wisdom Pearl with just a Dao weapon. The few cultivators who did not faint from the aura force were shocked by the scene. However, Lai Yuko's expression did not change at all. He formed a hand seal. The Treasure Wisdom Pearl in midair suddenly split into 2 and then into 4. In just a blink of an eye, it had turned into 24 pearls. Each of them was a mid-grade innate treasure. The combined power of 24 pearls was already at the high-grade innate treasure. As such, it was a little difficult for Ning Fan to block the attack of the Treasure Wisdom Pearl with the sea-defying sword. Thus, he summoned another 2 swords. This time, he summoned the true martial broken sword. This broken sword was made up of 2 swords. When the 2 swords fused together, they were also comparable to the high-grade innate treasure. Rumble, the collision between the swords and the pearls set off a deafening sound wave. However, neither of them could do anything to the other. Lai Yuko changed his hand seal again and the 24 pearls immediately showed signs of fusing. Ning Fan, however, did not give Lai Yuko a chance to fuse the pearls. He pointed his finger and fixed one of the pearls in place. It could not be fixed for too long. After all, his magic power was much weaker than Lai Yuko's. He could only fix his opponent's magic treasure for a moment. One must know that the time in the surroundings was under Ning Fan's control. Thus, during this moment, Ning Fan stretched it to a very long time. It was long enough for him to plant enough master recognition seals on the Treasure Wisdom Pearl. Master recognition, activate. After consuming 514 master recognition seals, the Treasure Wisdom Pearl successfully recognized Ning Fan as its master. To Ning Fan, this moment was stretched to a very long time. However, to Lai Yuko, it was still just a moment. He did not even see what Ning Fan did after fixing the Treasure Wisdom Pearl in place. He only knew that the moment the Treasure Wisdom Pearl was fixed in place, its owner was forcefully taken away by Ning Fan. A muffled groan came from Lai Yuko's mouth. It seemed like he was slightly affected by the fact that his magic treasure was taken away. His expression, which had never changed since ancient times, also showed a trace of fluctuation. He was a great cultivator from the ancient times. In order to forcefully take away his magic treasure, one would at least need to be at the incipient saint realm. However, even an incipient saint realm expert could only forcefully take away his magic treasure. Wanting to instantly refine this treasure for his own use was just a pipe dream. He had kept the treasure wisdom pearl in his body and nourished it with his primordial spirit flame for more than 100 million years. How could the primordial spirit imprint on it be erased so easily? However, Ning Fan only needed a moment to erase everything in the treasure and take it for his own use. What kind of heaven-defying method did this man use? How could he possibly do this? Crack! Almost at the same time when Ning Fan took away one of the treasure wisdom pearls, the remaining 23 pearls all shattered. Seeing this scene, Ning Fan thought to himself. During the battle with the treasure wisdom pearl, he had already noticed that even though there were 24 pearls, only one of them was the true body. The rest of them were the clones of the true body. As expected, as long as he subdued one of them, the rest of the clones would disappear. This pearl is quite mysterious. However, I don't have the time to study it in detail right now. Ning Fan casually turned the newly subdued treasure wisdom pearl into a ray of light and kept it into his storage pouch. Everyone who saw this scene was dumbfounded. Even Chu Ping could not understand the situation. It can't be real, right? This man actually forcefully took away Senior Lai Zi's magic treasure just by raising his hand. For a moment, exclamations of shock could be heard everywhere. Qi Ning Fan's figure flashed and suddenly disappeared without a trace. At the next moment, Ning Fan appeared behind Lai Yuko with the sea-defying sword in his hand. With a flash of sword light, he went straight for the latter's neck. Clang! The sound of metal colliding resounded. Lai Yuko actually blocked the slash of the sea-defying sword with a single finger. This man can actually block the sea-defying sword with his physical body. Ning Fan was quite surprised. The slash of the sea-defying sword was just a pretense. Almost at the same time when Lai Yuko blocked the sea-defying sword, 2 rays of sword light went straight for his 4 corners and slashed at his vital parts. It was the sneak attack of the broken true martial sword. One of the broken swords slashed at the top of Lai Yuko's head. The other one slashed at his dantian. However, the broken true martial sword only managed to cut through Lai Yuko's clothes. It did not leave a single wound on his physical body. It did not even leave a scratch on his body. What a terrifying physical body. It could even ignore the broken true martial sword, which was comparable to a high-grade innate magic treasure. Lord River Earl's prophecy was right. You are indeed a monster, Lai Yuko said calmly. He was referring to the fact that Ning Fan could instantly take away his magic treasures. You are the real monster, aren't you? Ning Fan said. Having missed his attack, Ning Fan withdrew his body and flew backwards. He kept the sea-defying sword and the broken true martial sword and clenched his 5 fingers. The 9 rain dragons that originally sealed the sky and land of the Feng Nu clan roared and crashed towards Lai Yuko. Facing the joint attack of the 9 dragons, even a second-level quasi-saint would have to retreat for a moment. However, Lai Yuko did not try to evade them. He allowed the 9 dragons to crash into him and the torrential rain intent to wash over him. He did not hide or evade. He walked in the rain intent as if he was invincible. Freeze! Ning Fan extended his own time. In an instant, he pointed at Lai Yuko with hundreds and thousands of heaven-freezing fingers. After that, Ning Fan took advantage of the moment when he froze Lai Yuko. Borrowing the monstrous rain intent, he instantly appeared in front of Lai Yuko. Once again, he extended his time and struck out countless master recognition seals at Lai Yuko with lightning speed. He actually wanted to make Lai Yuko his master and servant in the midst of the chaotic battle. I see. So this is the secret of your ability to snatch other people's magic treasures. As Ning Fan extended his own time infinitely, Lai Yuko also blended into the distortion of time and was not affected by the time curvature. He was not even frozen by Ning Fan. The thousands of heaven-freezing fingers could not restrain him at all. This had greatly exceeded Ning Fan's expectations. It also caused Ning Fan to reveal his biggest flaw when facing Lai Yuko. Of course, Lai Yuko would not give Ning Fan the time to plant the master recognition seals. He would not even give Ning Fan the time to react or defend himself. He suddenly attacked and pointed his finger directly at Ning Fan's glabella. The light from his finger turned into millions of intelligent swords and slashed into Ning Fan's sea of consciousness. Rumble, Ning Fan was sent flying backwards due to the pain. Blood trickled down from the corner of his mouth. Even the sea of consciousness of a divine spirit that was strong was damaged by Lai Yuko's finger. Fortunately, the damage was not severe. However, it was enough to make Ning Fan feel dizzy. Your sea of consciousness is indeed strange. Even after receiving a direct attack from the intelligent sword, you only suffered such a degree of damage, bind. Even though Ning Fan had suffered a loss in that attack, he did not stop and attacked again. He clasped his palms together and countless ancient vines suddenly appeared in midair. In just a few breaths' time, Lai Yuko was tied up like a dumpling by the vines that suddenly appeared. It's actually the Tao of wood that surpasses the level of the source of Tao techniques. Lai Yuko tried to break free but realized that he could not break these vines with brute force. His eyes showed a hint of surprise, which was rarely seen. Right at this moment, a towering mountain fell from the sky, firmly pressing down on Lai Yuko. It was the Tao Mountain of the Ant Lord. The old devil pill cultivation realm was originally being suppressed at the foot of the mountain. However, in order to use this mountain to attack Lai Yuko, Ning Fan had temporarily sealed the old devil inside the divine refining cauldron. By controlling the time in this place, Ning Fan could do too many things in a split second. This person is too difficult to deal with. Perhaps even the sage's Tao Mountain can't suppress him. Ning Fan thought to himself. As expected, Lai Yuko, who was being suppressed under the Tao Mountain, somehow managed to turn all the vines that were entangling him into ashes. Then, he lifted the Tao Mountain of the Ant Lord, which was pressing down on him with both hands. Of course, Lai Yuko did not have an easy time at the moment. Even he felt exhausted when facing the sage's Tao Mountain. This isn't your Tao Mountain. If the owner of this mountain is here, I might really be suppressed for a while. I'm very curious as to how you obtained a sage Tao Mountain. He actually threw the Ant Lord Tao Shan away. Boom! The Ant Lord's Tao Mountain smashed into the seabed, and the entire north border river shook violently. This smash shocked countless people. He had even angered another person. Who did he offend? Coincidentally, he had angered the Great Kun of the North Sea. However, the Great Kun of the North Sea was busy eating with Gung Wu and did not have the time to care about the changes in the Feng Nu clan. But just now, the Ant Lord's Tao Mountain had caused the entire North Realm River to shake violently. The tremors were so intense that even the cave abode of the Great Kun of the North Sea was shaking non-stop. One had to understand that this was the cave of an ancient great cultivator. It was protected by restrictions and didn't fear the tremors of the sea. However, the tremors caused by the Ant Lord's Tao Mountain could not be compared to ordinary sea quakes. They were tremors at the level of the Great Tao. As a result, even the cave abode of the Great Kun of the North Sea was affected. Scene 1, the Great Kun of the North Sea, which was as fat as a ball, was patiently teaching Gung Wu that it needed to eat more to grow. Scene 2, the Great Kun of the North Sea took out the fire fish cake that he had kept for many years from the treasure vault, wanting to share this delicacy with Gung Wu. Scene 3, the Great Kun of the Northern Sea was about to put the fire fish cake into its mouth, but because the cave suddenly shook violently, it lost its grip and the cake was smeared all over its face. Seeing that even the Ant Lord, Tao Shan, could not do anything to Lai Yuko, Ning Fan's evaluation of him rose to an unprecedented level. Just as he was rapidly thinking about the next attack, a bloody light crossed the distance of billions of miles and with a whoosh, shot into the territory of the Feng Nu tribe. It was a bloody path paved by the blood escape secret art. It was a secret art that used one's own blood essence as a medium to travel an immeasurable distance in an instant. This kind of blood escape technique was very common in the cultivation world. Many people would use this technique as a last resort to escape, but no one would normally use this technique to travel. After all, blood essence was so precious that even a quasi-sage wouldn't be so extravagant as to squander it. There was also no one who could use their own blood essence to pave a path of blood that ran through the entire northern border river. How much blood essence would that take? Was blood essence free? However, right now, such a terrifying scene really happened. Someone had really paved a bloody path that ran through the northern border river. Almost at the moment when the bloody path was paved, a chubby young lady crossed the endless distance and instantly appeared on the battlefield of the Feng Nu tribe. The young lady's appearance was extremely comical. She was already as fat as a ball. At this moment, her face was covered with pastries. The young lady's mount was equally comical. It was a large cuttlefish that was adorably ugly. Before it could finish chewing the food in its mouth, the young lady had already ridden it all the way to the battlefield. However, none of the people on the battlefield dared to laugh at the young lady, let alone the cuttlefish. There was no other reason. Be it the young lady or the cuttlefish, both of them were actually existences at the grand cultivation realm. I don't care who you are. You ruined my fire fish cakes. An apology is not enough. The chubby young lady was filled with killing intent. Without saying a word, she rode on Gung Wu and rushed towards Ning Fan. Gung Wu was also filled with killing intent. Ning! 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 Gung Wu recognized Ning Fan. Even in his dreams, he did not expect to meet Ning Fan here. Ning! 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 Gung Wu recalled the humiliation he suffered that day. Then, his mind was filled with anger. Roar! Gung Wu let out a furious roar. The underwater world instantly lost all of its colors. The roar of the sea demon reverberated through the bottom of the river like a blood-red sound wave. Be it the water region or the sky, after being hit by the blood-red sound wave, everything began to shake violently and resonated with each other. Heaven and earth were shaking and so was the border river. No one could stand steadily in such an intense shaking, except for the few people who were at the peak of this place. Then, scarlet light gathered in Gung Wu's mouth. The light became brighter and brighter. Apparently, he was going to release the tribulation flash directly at Ning Fan. What was more frightening was that the power of the tribulation flash was constantly being compressed and increased. 3 times the tribulation flash. 5 times the tribulation flash. 10 times the tribulation flash. 100 times the tribulation flash. Boom! The entire Feng Nu tribe was instantly engulfed by the scarlet light of the tribulation flash. Chapter 1264. This is bad. Seeing that Gung Wu's first attack was a great ability like the 100 times tribulation flash, Chu Ping, who had been watching the battle from the sides, suddenly turned gloomy. Even Lai Yuko furrowed his brows. The scarlet tribulation flash engulfed the entire Lady Offering tribe. The Heavenly Abyss divinatory formation, which was forcefully recognized by Ning Fan as its master, was activated automatically after sensing the tribulation flash's attack. The formation tried to resist the tribulation flash, but it only lasted for a short moment before it was destroyed. The formation was destroyed. The Heavenly Abyss Grand Formation was destroyed. The power of the Z-Wei Do number that was gathered by the Heavenly Abyss Grand Formation vanished. After that, the tribulation flash swept across the entire area without any obstruction. The land of the Lady Offering tribe instantly endured hundreds of millions of tribulation flash attacks. The land of the tribe was shattered into countless pieces. Countless cries of agony resounded. Everyone in the area was caught in the attack of the tribulation flash. Be it Life Immortal Realm or True Immortal Realm cultivators, they could not withstand the impact of the tribulation flash and were directly turned into ashes. Even immortal venerables and immortal kings could only live for a few breaths. Only immortal emperors could survive such an attack. However, it was only because the center of the tribulation flash was not where they were. What they faced was just the aftermath of the tribulation flash. Even so, these immortal emperors were severely injured and on the verge of death. Their magic treasures were destroyed and their faces were filled with fear. It was unknown how much strength they had to exert to survive the aftermath of the tribulation flash. Ah! The great Kun of the Northern Sea was dumbfounded. She wanted to teach the person who destroyed her pastries a lesson, but she did not ask Gang Wu to use such a powerful technique. Everything was Gang Wu's own decision. This is ridiculous. What are you waiting for? Hurry up and stop the tribulation flash. At this moment, old ancestor Chu Ping's voice resounded in the great Kun's ears with a hint of reproach. The great Kun regained its senses and knew that it was not the time to be in a daze. It patted Gang Wu's head helplessly to calm him down. While comforting him, it explained. Little Gang Wu, quickly retract your ability. The place we came from is called the Lady Offering Tribe. It is a very special place. You can't use too many powerful techniques in this place. Otherwise, you will be in big trouble. De Kuen's comforting words seemed to have boundless magical power. Gang Wu's emotions miraculously calmed down. It became docile once again and listened to the big Kuen's command. It opened its bloody mouth and sucked back the 100-fold calamity flash that it had spat out. At the same time, the great Kun, Chu Ping, and Lai Yuko took action together, helping Gang Wu clean up the aftermath. They all displayed divine abilities to get rid of the tribulation here. I'll eat, I'll eat, I'll eat. Big Kun swallowed the tribulation lightning between heaven and earth in large mouthfuls. It ate several hundred mouthfuls in a row. Swallowing the mighty tribulation flash into her stomach was extremely harmful. Her internal organs had to bear all the damage from the tribulation flash directly. The tribulation flash that had been swallowed raged and destroyed in the big Kun's stomach. Every time it forcefully swallowed a mouthful of tribulation flash, the great Kun would lose a lot of qi and blood. The amount of qi and blood lost from eating a mouthful of tribulation flash was almost equivalent to the total amount of qi and blood of several immortal emperors. The big Kun had eaten hundreds of tribulation flash, but its face was still rosy. Its complexion was as usual. There was almost no loss of qi and blood. Her total amount of qi and blood was too terrifying. To her, such a loss was actually just a drop in the ocean. Immortal spirit technique, 5 fingers become mountains. Lai Yuko walked in the tribulation flash. His face was like a void, and there was no emotion on his face. Even the 100-fold calamity flash that was powerful couldn't hurt him at all. He raised his palm and continuously slapped the tribulation flash around him. Every time his palm landed, a large amount of tribulation flash would gather and condense. The raging power of the tribulation flash was condensed into scarlet 5-finger mountains. With a rumbling sound, it smashed into the bottom of the sea and could no longer wreak havoc. It was as if it was suppressed between the 5 fingers. 9 song gods, appear. Chu Ping walked in the tribulation flash. Around him, there were 9 guardian gods that were 4 illusory and 5 corporeal. Those guardian gods each seemed to have unparalleled power, but because the light of the tribulation flash around them was too bright, their faces couldn't be seen clearly. When the 9 gods appeared together, the tribulation flash around them was instantly dispersed. Another guardian god raised his palm and grabbed at the tribulation flash around him as he said indifferently. Great Unity Divine Technique. Almost at the same moment when this guardian god displayed the Great Unity Divine Technique, the tribulation flash around him seemed to have received a command and flew to his palm. Then, it turned into a scarlet bird in his palm. After the joint efforts of Lai Yuko, Chu Ping, Great Kun, and Gang Wu, the 100-fold calamity flash was completely dispersed in just a short while. Even though the tribulation flash was dispersed, the entire lady worship tribe was now in ruins. Other than a few immortal emperors who survived, the rest had already turned into ashes. Ning! 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 Gang Wu looked around and found that Ning Fan's figure was nowhere to be found. Instantly, he was filled with joy. From his point of view, Ning Fan did not have Niu Mansion's help this time. His full-powered attack this time would certainly have turned Ning Fan into ashes. Your joy is meaningless. That person didn't die. He has already escaped. Lai Yuko said to Gung Wu as if he could see through his mind. Indeed. That little guy called Ning Fan is no longer here. Chu Ping scanned the area with his spirit sense. When he did not sense Ning Fan's chi from the ashes, his expression became slightly relieved. Then, he said to Great Kun with a serious face. You and I are both celestial monarchs. We have met Lord He-Bo together and listened to his prophecy. It's impossible that you don't know the importance of the lady worship tribe. Why did you allow Gung Wu to wreak havoc here? Lai Yuko also looked at Great Kun, as if he was waiting for it to give a reasonable explanation. When they fought against Ning Fan earlier, Lai Yuko's hands and feet were tied. He almost did not use any of his divine abilities. He was afraid that the lady worship tribe was too special and he did not dare to use any of his divine abilities. Unexpectedly, as soon as Great Kun appeared, it ordered Gung Wu to destroy the entire lady worship tribe. He needed an explanation for this matter. I'm the one who made the mistake. I will bear the consequences of my own actions. If you want to report this to Lord He-Bo, go ahead. I won't object to any punishment. Great Kun did not intend to explain further. He directly took the blame. It was as if he was afraid that Lai Yuko and Chu Ping would hold Gung Wu accountable. You are in the wrong, but he is even more guilty. Lai Yuko raised his palm and was about to display his divine ability to punish Gung Wu. Great Kun immediately stopped him. I've said it before. I'm the one who made the mistake. It has nothing to do with my friend. All right. Now is not the time to find fault. The most important thing now is to repair the lady worship tribe's territory and clan formation. Don't release the malice chi that was sealed in the lady worship tribe's heaven abyss. Chu Ping sighed and became the mediator. How much of it can be repaired? Lai Yuko asked. At most 90%. Among my gods of 9 songs, the Tai Yi god has yet to recover from the damage caused by the malice chi. It still can't display its full strength. Chu Ping sighed. 90%. It's enough to last until the end of the war between our tribe and the 4 heavens. Lai Yuko nodded his head satisfactorily. Chu Ping added. My great Si Ming god has already fully recovered. It's not difficult to revive the people who just died within the time it takes for an incense stick to burn. All the cultivators of the lady worship tribe who died in the lady worship tribe can be revived. Lai Yuko answered indifferently. He did not care whether Chu Ping could revive the people who died in the tribulation lightning. He only cared about how much the lady worship tribe's territory and clan formation could be repaired. If that's the case, you can stay here and repair the lady worship tribe. I'll go and chase after that person. Lai Yuko planned to go after Ning Fan. He would not stop until he took back the titled pill from Ning Fan. I'll go too. Great Kun also wanted to chase after Ning Fan. Even Gung Wu was gritting his teeth. How could he be willing to let Ning Fan escape from under his nose? Don't go after him. I can't do it alone if I want to repair the lady worship tribe. The space-time of this place has already recognized someone as its master, which greatly increases the difficulty of repairing it. I need the help of the 2 of you. Only by gathering the power of a few great cultivators can we have a chance of repairing it. Chu Ping stopped them. When Great Kun heard that it needed its help to repair the lady worship tribe, it had no choice but to give up on chasing after Ning Fan. Lai Yuko gave Chu Ping a meaningful look and said. Even though the space-time of this place has recognized someone as its master, it has a time limit. It won't last long. Soon, the space-time will return to its original position. It's because the person who recognizes space-time as its master can't control space-time to the extent that it should. Therefore, are you really sure that you need me and Great Kun to stay here to repair this place? Chu Ping did not answer. Seeing that Chu Ping did not answer, Lai Yuko did not continue to ask. Instead, he extended his 5 fingers and clawed at the sky. 2 dragons, one black and one golden, appeared between heaven and earth. The golden dragon was the materialized form of this place's time law. The black dragon was the materialized form of this place's space law. The space-time of this place was directly extracted by Lai Yuko and held in his palm. Look. The imprint that Ning Fan planted in the two dragons is weakening. It proves that what I said is true. I'm very curious. What exactly did you experience in the Battle of Dao Senses? Why are you so protective of this cultivator named Ning Fan? As he spoke, Lai Yuko exerted his magic power. The two space and time dragons in his palm were instantly shattered. After that, the shattered space-time power was reassembled by Lai Yuko. The space-time of this place regained its order and was no longer affected by Ning Fan's interference. Alright. Since you've said so much, I'll also tell you my inner thoughts. Even though that Ning Fan isn't a great Dao Immortal Realm expert, his strength isn't inferior to ours. Even if you catch up to him, what can you do? Do you want to fight him again and destroy the northern border river completely? Destroy the northern heaven as well? Even if the four heavens collapse, what can you do? Can you really take back the titled pill from him? I don't have much confidence, but there's a 30% chance that I can. That's why I want to give it a try. Lai Yuko said. What happens after you take it back? Then find another person who can bear the pill and let him consume it to help him attain the title of Rain Master? Chu Ping asked again. You mean to say that we should directly hand the pill to that person? Let him obtain the power of the title of Rain Master and let him assist us. Lai Yuko seriously considered the pros and cons. In the end, he shook his head. He's a cultivator of the northern heaven. He's the descendant of Zido. His Dao is different from ours. While speaking, Lai Yuko's expression suddenly changed slightly. He seemed to have sensed something. At this moment, Ning Fan, who had already escaped from the lady-worshipping tribe, directly swallowed the mid-grade 10,000 spirit blood that he concocted. Since he had already eaten the pill, it was impossible to take it back. Hee. Now, you won't chase after him anymore, right? Chu Ping also sensed that the title of Rain Master had a new owner. How could he not know that Ning Fan had already eaten the pill? According to his understanding of Lai Yuko, this person would only act rationally. Since there was no possibility of him taking back the pill, it was impossible for him to chase after Ning Fan and fight him for no reason. Are you happy that I won't chase after him? Lai Yuko said without sadness or joy. He did not feel angry because he could not take back the title of Rain Master. Chu Ping did not answer. It seems like you don't want to gossip with me anymore. Then, let's start repairing the lady-worshipping tribe immediately. Lai Yuko said. Chu Ping nodded. He activated the power of Tai Yi Shen, one of the gods of 9 songs. Tai Yi Wheel, Time and Space Reversal. A light will flew out from Tai Yi Shen's hand. Then, a magical scene happened. The destroyed lady-worshipping tribe was slowly restored to its original state, as if a picture was rewound. However, the restoration was not perfect. The Tai Yi Shen that Chu Ping summoned had yet to recover from his injuries. Naturally, the divine ability he displayed could not be perfect. Those who were turned into ashes also had their time and space reversed. The ashes on the ground reformed into physical bodies. However, these bodies were just empty shells. They could only be considered as corpses. Thus, Chu Ping activated the power of Great Si Ming God, one of the gods of 9 songs. Lamp of Life and Death, Life Extension. An ancient lamp that was burning with black and white flames flew out from Great Si Ming God's hand. The souls of the corpses on the ground were instantly reignited. Their souls had returned. Huh? Why am I not dead? What happened just now? I don't seem to remember clearly. The cultivators who were resurrected wore blank expressions. They did not know what was going on. However, they did not know that the reason why they could be resurrected was all thanks to Chu Ping. Speaking of which, if you can resurrect true Monarch Beihai together with him, it will save us a lot of trouble. Lai Yuko suddenly asked. I have already tried to do that secretly. Unfortunately, I can't do it at all. The cauldron that Ning Fan used to kill true monarch Beihai is too special. I don't know the origin of that cauldron. The people who were killed by it are actually beyond the life and death authority of Great Sea Ming God. Strange? The number of people who were resurrected seems to have decreased by a lot. Chu Ping suddenly exclaimed softly. He realized that none of the cultivators who were resurrected by him were from the lady-worshipping tribe. In other words, before this, there was not a single member of the lady-worshipping tribe who died. It turned out that Ning Fan did not escape from this place alone. Instead, he brought the entire lady-worshipping tribe with him. Impossible. Little Gung Wu's 100 times tribulation flash arrived in an instant. How could he bring so many people out of this place in just an instant? De Kun of the Northern Sea found it hard to believe. Don't forget that this person has already recognized the time of this place. An instant in your eyes might be 10 years or 100 years in his eyes. With such sufficient time, it's not surprising for him to do anything. Lai Yuko explained. His eyes, however, inadvertently showed a hint of surprise. He was very surprised. According to his understanding, Ning Fan and the lady-worshipping tribe had never met before. To Ning Fan, it was not an exaggeration to say that these members of the lady-worshipping tribe were strangers. As a cultivator, when facing the encirclement of 4 ancient great cultivators and facing the 100 times tribulation flash that arrived in an instant, a normal person would subconsciously seek a way to save their own life. Who would care about the safety of strangers? However, Ning Fan saved the entire lady-worshipping tribe at the moment of life and death. Is it because this person has absolute confidence that he is not afraid of the 100 times tribulation flash? Or perhaps, even if he could not defeat the 100 times tribulation flash and knew that saving these people would only become a burden to him, he still did it. Why? Why did he make such a decision? I don't understand. Lai Yuko's eyes were filled with confusion for a moment. He was an absolutely rational person. Therefore, he could not understand a choice that was beyond reason. Ning Fan escaped. The reason why he was in such a hurry to leave this place was not because he was afraid of Lai Yuko and the others. Instead, he was worried that if he continued to fight, he would implicate the entire lady-worshipping tribe. The 100 times tribulation flash that Gung Wu released was too fast. Almost at the same time when the red light appeared, the damage had already reached Ning Fan. Fortunately, Ning Fan had recognized this place as his master in advance. Thus, he had enough time to summon the virtuous umbrella to defend himself against the 100 times tribulation flash and save the entire lady-worshipping tribe. As for the other cultivators of the tribe, they were not within his range of rescue. It had nothing to do with him whether they wanted to live or die. He did not run too far away. His opponents were 4 ancient great cultivators. No matter where he hid in this small northern heaven, they could still catch up to him. Anywhere could be a battlefield. When he thought of Shueshen, Gung Wu, using the 100 times tribulation flash that could destroy heaven and earth, Ning Fan could not help but feel worried for the 4 heavens and 9 worlds. He was worried that the entire northern heaven would not be able to withstand the torment of Gung Wu and the others. In the end, Ning Fan chose to return to the Ziwei North Pole Palace. Even though this palace had already recognized him as its master, he could not guarantee that he could keep the ancient great cultivators out of the Realm River. If the enemies insist on chasing him into this palace, he would just have a battle with them here. In any case, this place was an immortal emperor's cave. It should be able to withstand a fierce battle between multiple great cultivators. Speaking of which, Lai Yuko fought me because of this mid-grade 10,000 spirit blood. What will he do if I consume it? Ning Fan and Lai Yuko had only met once. However, they had at least exchanged blows and tested each other to a certain extent. The human heart and the words of humans could be deceiving. However, divine abilities and Dao magic were directly related to one's Dao heart. Through the exchange of divine abilities and Dao magic, Ning Fan also gained a certain understanding of Lai Yuko's rigidity and rationality. He had various guesses in his mind. In the end, he decided to consume the mid-grade 10,000 spirit blood to see what his opponent would do next. As expected, The moment Ning Fan consumed the mid-grade 10,000 spirit blood, Lai Yuko retracted his spirit sense that had been locking onto him. As expected. Once this person loses his target, he will choose to give up. Ning Fan muttered to himself. However, he did not know that the reason why Lai Yuko gave up on chasing him was partly because of Chu Ping's persuasion. That's fine as well. Since he did not come to provoke me, I will slowly refine this middle grade 10,000 spirit blood. I have already cultivated the rain palm position. If I refine the power of the title within this pill, it might cause my reign will to undergo a qualitative change, even though the territory and clan formation of the Lady Offering clan had been repaired by Chu Ping, only 90% of it had been restored. Chu Ping and the others had no choice but to stay here temporarily and use their own methods to further strengthen the newly rebuilt Lady Offering clan. Right at this moment, a long howl suddenly sounded from the sea area around the Lady Offering clan. Along with that howl, a one-eyed giant walked towards them on the sea. This one-eyed giant was not a member of the myriad races in the World River. Therefore, when he was advancing in the World River, he inevitably encountered countless cultivators of different races. Stop him. We can't let him run wild in the World River. An immortal king of the Black Water race dashed towards the one-eyed giant while stepping on the black water. After that, the one-eyed giant casually swung his palm and sent him flying several million li away. Who are you exactly? An immortal emperor of the dragon swallow race dashed towards the one-eyed giant while holding a trident. After that, he was also sent flying by the one-eyed giant's palm. This one-eyed giant was too strong. He walked among the thousands of troops of the different races as if he was entering an uninhabited land. Even if a few immortal emperors of different races joined forces, they could not withstand more than a few moves from the one-eyed giant. At this moment, a cultivator of the different races finally recognized him. This one-eyed giant turned out to be the leader of the allied army of the Northern Heavens cultivators, the infamous old ancestor Eye Devil. Damn it! This old ancestor Eye Devil had changed into a new physical body. His chi had become even more mysterious and unpredictable. No wonder no one could recognize him at first sight. Weak. Too weak. None of you from the myriad races in the World River can fight? Where are the three celestial sovereigns? Why don't you come out and fight with me again? Yes. Yes. You 3-star monarchs are busy bullying my little brother Ning with your numbers. 3 against 1, bullying my little brother Ning. Despicable. How despicable. 3 against 1. Ah no. It's 4 against 1. The one-eyed giant sneered. It was strange. Although this one-eyed giant had a huge body, his laughter was extremely wretched. It was very similar to the eye monster that Ning Fan was familiar with. As a matter of fact, he was the eye monster himself. After the eye monster parted ways with Ning Fan in the past, he came to the Northern Heaven. After that, when the World River was in chaos, he took the initiative to join the allied army of the Northern Heavens cultivators and led them to fight against the different races in the World River. On this day, the eye monster was guarding the Northern World River as usual. Unexpectedly, the chi of a great battle suddenly broke out in the World River. It turned out that there were grand cultivators fighting each other. What surprised the eye monster even more was that one of the chi was so familiar. Isn't that Ning Fan's chi? Forgive me for being ignorant. When did this kid come to the Northern Heaven? Why is he fighting against the ancient great cultivators? Even though the eye monster did not know the cause and effect of this matter, he still forced his way into the depths of the World River as soon as he sensed Ning Fan's presence. Why did he rush over in such a hurry? Naturally, it was because there was more than one great cultivator surrounding Ning Fan. The eye monster was worried that Ning Fan might get hurt. That was why he rushed over to help. After the eye monster rushed into the depths of the World River, he was blocked all the way. It took him a lot of effort to reach the territory of the woman-worshipping clan. Right at this moment, the surface of the border river suddenly lit up with a formation of light. Then, hundreds of millions of foreign cultivators floated out of the water. They actually secretly gathered their magic power and formed a great formation to trap the eyeball monster in the formation. This formation gathered the magic power of hundreds of millions of cultivators. It was very powerful. But so what? The eye monster took off the bow on his back. No one knew the origin of this bow. Its chi had actually reached the peak of high-grade innate magic treasure. It was very close to the legendary supreme-grade innate magic treasure. Big brother eye monster. Quickly pull my bowstring. Quickly shoot my arrow. Let this group of ants see the power of us two brothers. This treasure bow could actually talk. It was not the treasure bow itself that was talking. Instead, it was the treasure spirit of the treasure bow that was talking. The eye monster chuckled and nodded. It was considered to have responded to the treasure spirit's request. Then, he pulled the bowstring and shot an arrow. Wherever the arrow passed, everything was drowned in candlelight. Hundreds of millions of formations were destroyed. After that, the eye monster separated the waves and charged all the way to the woman-worshipping tribe. You are all ancient great cultivators. The four of you actually joined hands to attack my poor little brother Ning. Hee hee. Little brother Ning, quickly take a look and see who is here to help you. Don't tell me that you don't know me after we parted that day. The eye monster arrived at the woman-worshipping tribe. He was full of momentum and wanted to help Ning Fan in the battle. However, Ning Fan was already gone. The eye monster was a little confused. He sensed that things were not that simple. He began to doubt the need for him to go through so much trouble to come here. Before he could react, Lai Yuko, Chu Ping, the great Kun of the Northern Sea and Gung Wu had already surrounded him. Where is my little brother Ning? The eye monster felt that the atmosphere suddenly became a little awkward. He has left. But now, you are here. Lai Yuko said indifferently. Oh. He has already left. Alright then. I will leave too. Goodbye. The eye monster smiled awkwardly. Che. Do you think this is a place where you can come and go as you please? The great Kun of the Northern Sea said in a deep voice. That's right. That's what I think. Goodbye. Fly, my little feather. The eye monster raised his hand and summoned a ray of red light. At the next moment, he ignored the magic power of the four great cultivators and left directly. Damn it! Are we going to chase after him? The great Kun of the Northern Sea asked. Ignore him. Continue to strengthen the formation of the woman-worshipping tribe. Lai Yuko chose to ignore the eye monster. However, before Lai Yuko could finish strengthening the formation of the woman-worshipping tribe, something even bigger was coming. No one knew what exactly happened. The only thing they knew was that a shrill, angry, and murderous cry of a crane suddenly resounded throughout the entire world river. Then, a crane's shadow flew to the woman-worshipping tribe recklessly. It was a nascent soul realm demon crane. Its 64 wings were broken, both of its eyes were dug out and half of its sea of consciousness was destroyed. It was riddled with injuries. It was only a nascent soul realm cultivator, but its pressure was too terrifying. Apart from Lai Yuko who could remain calm in front of this crane, the other three were all shocked by the demon crane's pressure. When the demon crane chanted, heaven and earth were reversed. When he chanted again, the sea became the sky and the sky became the sea. He stood upside down between heaven and earth and looked at all living things as if they were reversed. I can't come with my real body, so I can only send a crane shadow. This doesn't violate the agreement between me and old Master Hebo, right? The demon crane said in a deep voice while crying. His crying was indescribably sad. The tears that flowed from his empty eye sockets were the color of blood. However, when they fell into the world river, the blood tears dyed the water of the world river into the colors of yin and yang. According to the agreement, even Senior's crane's shadow can't come to the world river and interfere with the war of four heavens. Lai Yuko cupped his fists and bowed. He was neither servile nor overbearing. Interfere with the war of four heavens? Which eye of yours saw me interfering? Is it this one? The demon crane raised his claw and the claw shadow flashed. No one saw how he attacked. However, when everyone reacted, they found that there was an extra eyeball in the demon crane's claw. Lai Yuko's left eye was bleeding. His left eye was gouged out. Impossible. Brother Lai has the invincible protector. How can he be injured like this? Chu Ping was shocked. De Kun of the North Sea and Gung Wu were shocked. Only Lai Yuko himself was still calm, as if he didn't mind that one of his eyes was gouged out. He said indifferently, "Even so, Senior still broke the promise." Broke the promise? So what? Ha ha ha. Am I the only one who breaks a promise in the world? You, Hung Jun, also broke the promise that day. That's not important. Not important. But you shouldn't have bullied me with your numbers and killed my junior brother. Junior brother, junior brother. My poor junior brother. I just took a small nap and didn't pay attention to your daily life. How can I be separated from you by life and death? Have you been killed by old man Hung Jun? Why don't you reply? Say something. I beg you, I beg you. If you're still alive, say something to senior brother. If you're already dead, then. Sure enough, sure enough. There's no answer. Junior brother, you're already dead. Ah, it's my fault. I shouldn't have slept so much. I shouldn't have. No, it's not my fault. It's the world's fault. It's Hongjun's fault. It's all your fault. The demon crane let out a mournful cry. That kind of sorrow was deep and hopeless. It was as if it had lost its junior brother. It had lost everything and no longer had the motivation to live. Without junior brother, what's the use of this world? The demon crane cried and pierced the sky of the border river with its claw. Endless 3 calamities and 5 tribulations leaked out from the gap in the sky. Disasters swept over. Seeing that the demon crane was going to make a scene, the border river would be destroyed. De Kun of the North Sea couldn't stand it anymore. It wanted to stop the demon crane from going crazy. Senior, don't be crazy here, then. She was torn into 2 by the demon crane. Miraculously, even after being torn into 2, De Kun of the North Sea actually didn't die. Her vitality was too strong. However, she was still shocked by the demon crane's ferocity. An ancient great cultivator was torn apart just like that. What kind of monster is this demon crane exactly? How could there be such a terrifying existence in the age of chaos? Senior and I Crane, if you came to look for Ning Fan, he has already escaped from this place. Lai Yuko decided to explain to the demon crane about Ning Fan. However, this demon crane's insanity had completely flared up. How would it be willing to listen to others? Escape? Ha ha ha. Hung Jun. Bullshit. How could my junior brother escape? Even if he died, he couldn't just sit and watch Master do nothing. You knew that he would come. You knew that he would fall into your trap. You know that he won't escape at all, no matter how painful it is. You killed my junior brother but you still deny it. Give me back my junior brother. Give me back my junior brother. I am not Hung Jun. Lai Yuko said. Yes. Yes. Who do you think you are? How dare you call yourself Hung Jun? In this world, only my junior brother is worthy of the 2 words Hung Jun. Hurry up and return this name to me. I will kill you. I will kill you. On this day, the alien races in the World River were faced with an unprecedented tribulation. It was said that in the end, it was the legendary old ancestor Hebo who personally came forward and persuaded the demon crane to leave after sacrificing half of his physical body. After that, Lai Yuko and the others went through untold hardships to mend the hole in the sky that was pierced by the demon crane. Just mending the sky took a lot of effort. However, Ning Fan did not know about all of this at all. 10,000 scrolls from the past to the present are eternal. A single window sends fleeting years away. However, in this mountain, the clouds were deep and unknown. The days when Ning Fan was in seclusion to refine the mid-grade 10,000 spirit blood were simple and boring. Chapter 1265. In the blink of an eye, several months had passed since Ning Fan entered the North Myrtle Palace. During the past few months, the ancient great cultivators of the myriad clans in the Realm River did not come to this place. It was as if they were not concerned about Ning Fan's whereabouts at all. Of course, Ning Fan did not know that all of this was because omniscient old man had turned the world upside down in the border river. He also didn't know that because of his actions, the Northern Heaven and the Northern Border River had signed a temporary truce agreement. The Lost World Palace's 6 Games chess tournament had been postponed indefinitely. The disciples of the Pure Yang sect had not been able to wait for the return of the Pure Yang Patriarch. The Water sect, which had lost the true monarch of North Sea, had been divided by the forces of the Northern Heaven. The 4 Sea sect, which lacked the Thunder Lock old ancestor to monitor the movement of the stars in the sky, had caused a lot of trouble. They also didn't know how famous the ancient cultivator Zhao Jian had become in the Northern Sky and Northern Border River after a series of major events. The days suddenly calmed down. Time suddenly became abundant. Thus, Ning Fan gathered all the fragments of unparalleled rumors and began to repair it. Of course, Ji Fuyao, Nu Luo, and the others contributed a lot in finding the fragments. Unparalleled Rumors was one of the 4 divine artifacts of the Ziwei celestial realm. When the 4 divine artifacts were combined, it was comparable to splitting open the sky. There was no need to elaborate on its grade. Unfortunately, this artifact had been completely damaged. To repair it was no less difficult than forging a new artifact of the same grade. Even with Ning Fan's capabilities, he actually failed 5 times in a row and was still unable to repair it. Today was the 6th time Ning Fan went into seclusion to repair unparalleled learnings. After an unknown period of time, a loud explosion could be heard from within the stone chamber. The stone door of the chamber was blasted into smithereens. Then, black smoke billowed out from the stone chamber. After that, Ning Fan, who was covered in dust and dirt from the explosion, walked out of the chamber with a head full of messy black hair. I didn't expect that it would be so difficult to repair this thing. After the 6th failure, even with Ning Fan's strong will, he couldn't help but sigh. Not good. Could Brother Ning's restoration have failed again? The Pure Yang ancestral master, who had been waiting outside the stone pass for a long time, asked nervously. Why was the Pure Yang ancestral master waiting outside the stone gate? There was a reason for this. Noticing that the ancient cultivators in the Realm River did not follow them into this place, Ning Fan released old ancestor Lei Zhe, Pure Yang ancestral master and Lord Yu from Feng Bo's pouch, allowing them to recuperate peacefully in the Ziwei North Palace to heal their injuries. After all, this place was once an immortal emperor's abode. Even if it had been abandoned for countless years, the energy of the heavens and the earth here was still much denser than the outside world, so recuperating here was twice the result with half the effort. Moreover, with the help of Ning Fan's many heaven-defying healing methods, his injuries naturally recovered at an extremely fast speed. Let's not talk about how shocked these 3 were when they first entered the North Pole Palace. Then, after hearing that Ning Fan wanted to repair one of the 4 divine tools of the Ziwei immortal domain, the one who was most interested in this matter among the 3 of them was the Pure Yang ancestral master. I failed again. Ning Fan took a deep breath. His mental state regained its usual calmness as if he had never been affected by the failure of repairing the divine weapon for the 6th time. How much did the repairs cost? Pure Yang ancestral master asked. I still have 2 pieces of cold spirit stone, 9 tails of dragon blood sand and half of the scarlet water demonic candle. I've used up all the other materials. Ning Fan answered calmly. It was as if the materials used to repair the divine weapon were not precious treasures. However, in reality, each of these items could be sold for tens of gold coins in the heaven-reaching church. Ning Fan had bought them with real money. If they were placed in the illusory purple battle world which lacked resources, their prices would be a few times higher. Their value was enough to make quasi-saints fight for them. It's just a single repair, but so many immortal materials have been used. Pure Yang Ancestral Master's heart ached. He was feeling sorry for Ning Fan. 6 times. A total of 6 times. 6 times and 6 times of failure. The amount of immortal materials used in each failure was equivalent to the entire wealth of an ordinary quasi-saint. 6 times of failure was enough to make 6 quasi-saints go bankrupt. It's too expensive. It's really too expensive. If you have so much money, why don't you do something else? Why waste it like this? Sigh. Brother Ning, listen to my advice. This item is too heavily damaged and there's no hope of repairing it anymore. It's not worth wasting immortal materials on it. Pure Yang Ancestral Master said. Thank you for your kind advice, Brother Lu. However, I don't intend to change my mind and I will continue with this task. Luckily, I can find some clues every time I fail. I think I should be able to understand more if I try another 10 times or so. Ning Fan said. Huh? Do you plan to fail another 10 times or so? Even if you have money, you can't squander it like this, right? Unfortunately, no matter how Pure Yang Ancestral Master tried to persuade him, Ning Fan still did not change his mind. Thus, in the following days, Ning Fan continued to repair unparalleled knowledge. Then, he suffered the 7th failure, the 8th failure, the 9th failure, the 10th failure. Gradually, Pure Yang Ancestral Master got used to it and became numb to it. He had lived for a lifetime and it was not that he had never seen people who treated money like dirt. However, he had never seen someone who was as rich as Ning Fan. This young man was filthy rich and he was decisive in spending money. He was cold and heartless, but he was also extravagant and wasteful. He was stubborn and squandering money like water. He really could not change his mind no matter how he tried to persuade him. Speaking of which, he, Lu Chunyang, was the one who held the title of God of Fortune. However, compared to Ning Fan, he was nothing. Judging from Ning Fan's spending these days, it was obvious that Ning Fan was richer than him. Moreover, Ning Fan was much richer than him. From the way Ning Fan spent money, he, the dignified God of Fortune, was actually not as generous as Ning Fan. This matter dealt a heavy blow to Pure Yang Ancestral Master. After the blow, it also brought new insights to the Pure Yang Ancestral Master. What he cultivated in his life was the title of God of Fortune. What he cultivated was the Tao of money. In the past, he was too obsessed with money itself. He was passionate about making money and saving money. In his life, he had turned into a mortal and entered the world countless times. He learned the art of making money as a mortal merchant. He knew the Tao of making money. He also knew that it was not easy to make money. Because of this, he was born to be frugal. If he was to be like Ning Fan, spending money like water just for the possibility of repairing an illusory divine tool, he would probably never be able to do it. But why did Ning Fan's attitude of spending money like water and not being stingy bring him so much emotion? What I've cultivated in my life seems to be incomplete. The Tao of money doesn't only have the Tao of making money and the Tao of nurturing money. It should also include the Tao of dispersing money. I use 10% of my heart to make money and 12% of my heart to nurture money. However, when it comes to dispersing money, I'm too stingy and overcautious. Humans should be frugal. However, as the God of Fortune, I wasn't born to amass money. I shouldn't have too much obsession with money itself. After making money, I will nurture it. After nurturing it, I will disperse it. After I disperse it, I will be reborn. That's right. That's right. It should be like this. Day after day passed. Ning Fan's number of failures had already accumulated to 19 times. Pure Yang Ancestral Master actually gained great enlightenment from Ning Fan's failures. Inside his body, the cultivation base that was sealed by the heaven-avoiding coffin began to flow again. My magic power that had stagnated has actually grown again along with my enlightenment. This Pure Yang Ancestral Master was pleasantly surprised. Ordinary people would not be able to continue improving their cultivation base after being sealed by the heaven-avoiding coffin. In the past, Pure Young Ancestral Master could only absorb the heavenly Tao's gold and silver power to continue improving his magic power. Today, however, he truly obtained an improvement in his cultivation base by relying on his own enlightenment. Perhaps it was because the heaven-avoiding coffin was too special that even the heaven-avoiding coffin could not completely seal it. Or perhaps it was because he was the creator of the heaven-avoiding coffin that he was able to achieve this. Because of the heaven-avoiding coffin, my cultivation base has stagnated for far too long. After countless years of accumulation, the stagnant water that turned into glaciers melted and resumed flowing. It's definitely not just a stream but a torrent. Pure Young Ancestral Master's enlightenment continued to deepen. At the same time, his cultivation base that was supposed to stagnate was also improving. In the following days, his magic power began to skyrocket. Even the power of the heaven-avoiding coffin could not suppress it. It was getting closer to the second-level quasi-saint realm at an astonishing speed. Unfortunately, just as he was about to break through to the second-level quasi-saint realm, the feeling of the surging torrent slowed down. What's more, it stopped flowing. Is it because I can't break through to the second-level quasi-saint realm in one go? Is it because I haven't comprehended enough? Disperse wealth. Disperse wealth. I need to comprehend more Tao of disperse in order to break through to a deeper level. Pure Young Ancestral Master decided to break through to the second-level quasi-saint realm in one go. It was Ning Fan's 26th failure. As usual, Ning Fan walked out of the stone chamber with a gloomy face. As usual, Pure Young Ancestral Master was waiting outside the stone chamber. Pure Young Ancestral Master asked, "Brother Ning, did you fail again?" Ning Fan replied, "Yes. However, after this failure, I've found more clues." Pure Young asked, "Are you really not going to give up?" Ning Fan asked, "Why should I give up?" Pure Young answered, "Sure enough, you still want to continue, huh? Brother Ning is a person with a firm mind. It's admirable. Or perhaps, Brother Ning is purposely reminding me about this matter, to let me understand the true meaning of disperse wealth. If that's the case, I'll have to trouble Brother Ning." Ning Fan, who did not quite understand what Pure Young Ancestral Master was saying. He kept feeling that Pure Young Ancestral Master was behaving strangely and strangely. However, he could not tell what exactly was wrong. Didn't Brother Ning want this item in the past? "I'll give it to you." While speaking, Pure Young Ancestral Master gave Ning Fan some jade slips. In the past, in order to increase the purity of his magic power, Ning Fan had bought an oracular chant called Pure Refinement Technique from Pure Young Ancestral Master. However, Ning Fan did not buy all of them. He only bought the 6 eternal tribulations. What the Pure Young Ancestral Master gave Ning Fan this time was the remaining mnemonic chant. "For me. Isn't this too precious?" Ning Fan did not want to take this item for free. He still remembered the price that the Pure Young Ancestral Master had offered for the refinement technique. The incantation for the purity of the 5th tribulation of the Immortal King realm was 500 gold, the 6th tribulation was 1,000 gold, the 7th tribulation was 1,500 gold, the 8th tribulation was 2,000 gold, the 9th tribulation was 2,500 gold, the 1st tribulation was 3,000 gold, the 2nd tribulation was 3,000 gold, the 3rd tribulation was another 3,000 gold. The follow-up mantra given by the Pure Young Ancestral Master was worth 15,000 heavenly Tao gold. How could Ning Fan take such a valuable item for free? Not to mention that he had received help from the Pure Young Ancestral Master some time ago. He should not take the Pure Young Patriarch's gift for nothing. Instead, he should be the one thanking the Pure Young Patriarch. "Brother Ning, you look hesitant. Don't tell me you want to give me money." Pure Young Ancestral Master joked when he saw Ning Fan not accepting the gift. "Of course not." Ning Fan sighed inwardly. After thanking the Pure Young Ancestral Master, he kept the gift. He had lied. This item was too valuable. While he was hesitating just now, he actually did have the intention to pay for it. But in the end, he did not do so. It was not that he was reluctant to pay 15,000 gold, but he was unwilling to measure the pure young ancestral master's sincerity with mere gold and silver. However, considering the great significance of gold and silver to the pure young ancestral master, Ning Fan would naturally remember this matter. In the future, there would be other returns, but he would not deliberately mention it at this moment. The pure young ancestral master seemed to have seen through Ning Fan's thoughts and said with a smile, "Brother Ning, you really don't need to be so polite. In the previous battle of life and death, I risked my life to come here. For the sake of righteousness, if I can sacrifice my life, why would I be stingy with gold and silver? It's just a mere mantra. I'll just give it to you. You don't need to mind it. Thank you." Ning Fan cupped his fists to express his gratitude with a serious expression. The pure young ancestral master waved his hand indifferently and continued awkwardly. "Besides, this pure refinement mantra actually isn't worth much money. To be honest, this mantra is actually something that I made up casually when I was extremely bored in the past. In terms of cost, it only took me 1 hour of my time and some empty jade slips. In the past, I actually asked Brother Ning for such a cheap item at a price of more than 10,000 gold and even cheated him of thousands of gold. I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed. In the past, I cherished gold and silver like my life. I didn't feel that there was anything wrong with this matter. Every time I think about this matter, I would only feel complacent. Now that my Tao heart has improved, I realize that things have changed. When I think about this matter again, I feel so ashamed that I can't speak. What kind of treasure can be sold for more than 10,000 gold of heavenly Tao? As the god of wealth, I don't have any reverence for money at all. I only know how to ask for an exorbitant price and return the money while sitting on the ground. I was wrong. I was completely wrong. Ning Fan. Ning Fan. Ning Fan. The pure young ancestral master said, "Brother Ning's expression seems to be a little complicated." Ning Fan replied, "I just didn't expect that such an exquisite mantra was actually made up by Brother Lu." The pure young ancestral master said, "I also didn't expect that someone would really pay the price that I asked casually in the past." Ning Fan felt a little offended. "In other words, I was actually an idiot in your eyes in the past." It was a slip of the tongue. "I'm sorry." The pure young ancestral master said awkwardly. "It's all right. You and I have never met each other in the past. It's normal for us to plot against each other and criticize each other. No matter what, I have finally experienced how amazing fellow Taoist is today." Ning Fan sincerely praised him. He casually invented a heaven-defying item like the heaven-avoiding coffin. When he had nothing better to do, he wrote down a mysterious mantra like the pure refinement art. It was definitely not a lie to say that the pure young ancestral master was extremely talented. Such a person was trapped in the illusory dream world. Due to his bad luck, he was just a first-level quasi-saint. If he was born in the true world and became the disciple of a saint, it was unknown what kind of future he would have. Ning Fan firmly believed that the pure young ancestral master had the potential to become a saint. Speaking of which, Brother Lu's magic power has improved a lot recently. I'm afraid it won't take long for you to break through to the second-level quasi-saint realm, right? Ning Fan kept the jade slip of the pure refinement art and asked. You can see that my cultivation base has improved." The pure young ancestral master was shocked. He had used the power of the fortune god title to conceal his qi. Even an ancient great cultivator should not be able to see through the improvement of his cultivation base. How did Ning Fan see through it? This young man's senses are really at a monstrous level. When did you see through it? You should have spent some time to see through this kind of thing, right? It should be because I neglected to conceal my qi when I was close to breaking through to the second-level quasi-saint realm. That's how you saw through it, right? The pure young ancestral master was greatly shocked. Ning Fan did not know how to answer. Don't tell me that I have already seen some clues from the first day when your cultivation base improved. I just didn't have the chance to ask you about it. You are really a monster. The pure young ancestral master felt even more shocked after seeing through Ning Fan's thoughts. I heard that when a quasi-saint realm cultivator breaks through to the second level, they will often call their friends and ask for help. When Brother Lu is fully prepared and decides to break through, don't forget to inform me. Ning Fan said. Hee. If I really break through to the second level, of course, I will need Brother Ning's help. As the saying goes, friends born to be together. I have lived for too long. There are only a few Taoists who are from the same generation as me. Other than Brother Ning, I really don't know who else I should ask for help. The pure young ancestral master sighed. He felt that the world was full of vicissitudes. In this world, waiting for someone who can't return is really lonely. The day of fellow Taoists' breakthrough will definitely come. Hee. There's no need for that. If there's something important, it's fine if Brother Ning doesn't come. Even so, the pure young ancestral master knew that since the person in front of him said that he would definitely come even if there was a mountain of daggers and a sea of flames ahead. It's really good that I can still find a true Taoist in this lonely world of cultivation. Alright. You continue with your work. I should go and find Ujizi. The pure young ancestral master bid farewell. Ujizi was the real name of the Yu clan lord. If that's the case, I will go with you. Ning Fan said. Don't. I am going to find old man Yu to distribute my wealth. Why are you going with me? Besides, old man Yu seems to still be angry. He might not want to see you. You better focus on repairing your divine weapon. The Yu clan lord was indeed angry at Ning Fan. However, he was just angry for a while when he found out about Jiu Xiaojio's whereabouts. After he figured out the cause and effect, he naturally would not be angry at Ning Fan anymore. Instead, he felt a little apologetic towards Ning Fan. That's right. The Yu clan lord already knew that the reason why Jiu Yao, whom he regarded as his granddaughter, was missing was because she was captured by Ning Fan. How did the Yu clan lord know about this? It all started when Ning Fan invited the Yu clan lord to recuperate in the North Pole Palace. Returning to that day, the Yu clan lord bid farewell to Ning Fan, Pure Yang, and Lei Jia. Ning Fan said, "This place is the immortal sovereign realm abode. It's the most suitable place for recuperation. Brother Yu, why don't you stay here temporarily to recuperate? Why are you in such a hurry to leave?" The Yu clan lord said, "I have an urgent matter to attend to. I can't stay here for long." Pure Yang said, "If you have any difficulties, why don't you tell us? We might be able to help you." The Yu clan lord said, sigh. "It's like this. I know a little fellow. I watched her grow up. She's just like my granddaughter. This little fellow has never left my side for too long. However, recently, I don't know where she is." Lei Jia asked, "Missing? Do you have any clues?" The Yu clan lord answered, "No. I've planted an imprint on her body but I can't sense it at all. I don't know if she's trapped in some ancient ruins or she's involved in some kind of danger. Or maybe she's actually holding a grudge against me for always stealing her wine. Is she so angry that she's hiding on purpose? Everyone, please help me analyze it. Which possibility is the highest?" Ning Fan asked, "Do you have her life plate?" The Yu clan lord answered, "Yes. Her life plate is still intact." Ning Fan continued, "She has your quasi-saint realm imprint on her body. It's unlikely for ordinary people to attack her. However, if it's your enemies who seek revenge. As for the possibility of her being trapped in the ancient ruins, it's not impossible." The Yu clan lord answered, "I don't think I have any enemies in the illusory world." Ning Fan asked, "Why are you so sure?" The Yu clan lord answered, "I've already killed all of my enemies who had karma with me." Ning Fan was speechless. The Yu clan lord continued, "It's highly possible that she's trapped in a special space like the ancient ruins. This little girl is usually very active. She always likes to go to ancient ruins." Lei Zhe said, "That's a little dangerous. Even though the northern heaven has the heavenly law to protect the law, there are also many devil cultivators. These devil cultivators love to build their abodes in the ancient ruins the most. I hope your granddaughter isn't captured by some greedy and lecherous devil cultivator when she's exploring some ruins and locked in the space of a cauldron. The Yu clan lord said, "Damn it. I'm going to search the ruins in the northern heaven right now. I must save Xiaojiu." Chen Yang said, "Don't go. Old man Lei just said it casually. Do you really believe him? Those devil cultivators would never dare to capture someone related to a quasi-saint realm expert even if they want to capture a human cauldron. Didn't Brother Ning say this before?" Lei Zhe said, "Old man Lu, you're wrong. How can a lustful person be overcautious? What if there's really a lustful person who isn't afraid of death? Look at Brother Yu's majestic appearance. His granddaughter must be a beauty that outshines the moon and puts flowers to shame." Chen Yang said, "They're not related by blood," Lei Zhe said. "In short, Old Man Yu's granddaughter is a beauty that outshines the moon and puts flowers to shame." Chen Yang said, "But you've never seen her before. How can you be so sure?" Lei Zhe said, "Intuition. I've been through life and death situations a few times in my life. Every time a calamity befalls me, I rely on my intuition to turn calamities into blessings." Master Yu said, "Hee. Old man Lei is right. That granddaughter of mine is indeed very beautiful. Brother Lei and Brother Lu might not have seen this granddaughter of mine before, but Brother Ning should have. At that time, this little girl was secretly waiting for Brother Ning to attack him. I told her a few words and she should have listened to me." While speaking, Master Yu took out Jiu Xiaojiu's portrait and showed it to everyone. After that, time returned to the present. "Grandpa Master Yu. You don't know how despicable that Ning Fan is. After he captured me, he locked me up with his human cauldrons. Do you know how many human cauldrons he has raised? 100,000? No. It might be 1 million or 10 million. I didn't count them because I couldn't count them at all. The extent of his lust shocked me. I was really scared silly at that time." Zhou Xiaojiu said. "Brother Ning's bone age is still young. He's still young and strong. It's normal for him to raise hundreds of thousands of human cauldrons." Master Yu said disapprovingly. Is this still normal?" Zhou Xiaojiu was shocked. "Do you know how many fish eggs our Yu clan can produce at a time? Even the ordinary grass carp can produce 400,000 eggs at a time. If it's some special fish, they can produce hundreds of millions of eggs at a time." Master Yu said. "These are obviously two different things." Zhou Xiaojiu said. "Then let's talk about the matter as it is. You attacked him first. Even though he locked you up, he didn't harm your life or touch you at all. It's already benevolent of him. If it's me, I'll kill anyone who doesn't have eyes to look for trouble at my door. There's no need to reason with him. So, be content. With this lesson, don't stir up trouble in the future." Master Yu said. "But," Zhou Xiaojiu said, "find a chance to apologize to Brother Ning." Master Yu said. "What? He captured me and I still have to apologize to him?" Zhou Xiaojiu said. Hee. If you don't go, I won't ask him again if he captures you again." Master Yu said. Then I better find a chance to apologize to him. He's a magnanimous person. He certainly won't remember my wrongdoings." Zhou Xiaojiu said cowardly. While they were talking, the pure young ancestral master came to their door. As soon as he saw the pure young ancestral master, he came to give the fish clan a gift. This was what the pure young ancestral master meant by spreading his wealth. In his opinion, as long as he spreads his wealth and comprehends the Tao of wealth scattering, he would certainly be able to break through to the second-level quasi-saint realm. After giving the fish clan a gift, the pure young ancestral master went to Lei Zhe and also gave him a huge gift. That really gave the old ancestor a fright. Mysterious. This matter is really mysterious. The pure young ancestral master who was usually stingy had come to give a gift for the first time ever. Moreover, the gift he gave was extremely valuable. No matter how one looked at it, it was shocking. Zhou Xiaojiu decided to apologize to Ning Fan. She did not know if she could really learn from her mistakes. It was mainly because she was a coward. After being captured by Ning Fan this time, she was really scared. If she had the Fish Clan grandpa's support, she might still have some confidence to not be afraid of him. But now, in order to prevent Ning Fan from taking revenge on her, she had no choice but to personally come and settle this karma. Moreover, Ning Fan seemed to have something that the Fish Clan grandpa was searching for. She really wanted it. In order to show her sincerity, she certainly could not leave empty-handed. Excuse me. Where can I find the high-grade wine brewing ingredients here? Zhou Xiaojiu pulled a small demon from the North Pole Palace and asked. Go away. Go away. Grandpa still needs to patrol the mountain. I have no time to entertain you. The small demon said impatiently. Hey hey hey. Before I say that your tone is arrogant, look at the difference between our cultivation levels first. I am a dignified great expert at the True Crossing realm. You're just a Gold Core realm small demon, alright? Zhou Xiaojiu was speechless. True Crossing realm? You? The small demon stared at Zhou Xiaojiu as if she was looking at a retard. No matter how she looked at her, she did not feel that this silly girl in front of her was some kind of great expert. If you don't believe me, I will release some of my aura force to show you how terrifying a great expert of the True Crossing realm is. In order to prove her identity as a True Crossing realm expert, Zhou Xiaojiu decided to release some of her aura force to show the other party. However, just as she was about to release her aura force, there was a formless star force that scattered her aura force into the heaven and earth. It did not fall on the small demon's head at all. It could not fall. Because, the North Pole Palace did not allow it. This was the former Immortal Emperor's cave residence. A mere cultivator of the True Crossing realm did not even have the qualifications to release her aura force here. How is it? Are you scared? Zhou Xiaojiu only released her aura force for a moment. The main reason was that she was afraid that if she released it for too long, she would directly suppress the small demon to death. She thought that she had already intimidated the other party and did not notice the fact that her aura force had been dispersed. The main reason was that the moment when the aura force was dispersed was too fast. So you really are a great expert of the True Crossing realm. Io, you really scared me to death. Alright, alright. Aren't you looking for the wine brewing ingredients? Go over there and ask our commander for it. How pitiful. Such a good girl. Why did you injure your brain at such a young age? In the end, the small demon still pointed the way for Zhou Xiaojiu. It was probably sympathizing with this girl for not having a good brain. Zhou Xiaojiu did not mind the small demon's criticism. The main reason was that she did not hear the small demon saying that her brain was not good. After she left, the small demon looked up at the sky and the illusory dome of the North Pole Palace and muttered. At that moment, why did I feel like I was protected by heaven and earth? That feeling was like the Ziwei Dipper protection described in the book. It was warm and made me feel at ease and sleepy. It should just be an illusion. The old lord has passed away and the new lord has not arrived. It is impossible for the Ziwei Dipper protection to reappear. I really want to see how the North Pole Palace looks like when it has a master. Chapter 1266. After climbing over 10 mountains and crossing 9 rivers, Zhou Xiaojiu finally found the place that the patrolling demon had mentioned. There were countless tree holes and warehouses here. The Nighthawk clan had lived here for generations and were responsible for guarding the Xian Pin Palace's resources. Sensing Zhou Xiaojiu's intrusion, a patrolling Nighthawk clan demon immediately flew over and landed on the ground. It held its weapon horizontally and asked in a deep voice. Password. What password? Zhou Xiaojiu was stunned. If you don't know the password, your identity is unknown. You are not allowed to enter the Thousand Trees treasure vault. Leave now. The demon of the Nighthawk clan said firmly. Wait, I heard the patrolling demon's advice and came here. I have something to ask your commander. Zhou Xiaozhou explained. Leave now. But, leave now. Zhou Xiaozhou could not enter the Thousand Trees treasure vault. Looking at the tightly shut door and the cold and emotionless guards around the door, Zhou Xiaozhou suddenly felt that she had been deceived. The patrolling demon had clearly said that she could find the materials to brew wine here. Could it be that he had lied to her? She could not even enter the door of this place. How could she find any materials? Or perhaps, the demon had forgotten to mention that this place was heavily guarded and needed a password to enter and exit. Do I need to hide myself and sneak into this place to find materials? Although I am only at the Crossing Truth realm, if I use the method that Grandpa Fish Lord taught me, ordinary people will definitely not be able to detect me. While Zhou Xiaozhou was thinking, she suddenly saw a demon riding a cloud in the distance. It was a female demon wearing wooden armor and apricot yellow clothes. Even with Zhou Xiaozhou's eyesight, she could not see through this woman's cultivation level. This woman's cultivation level is far higher than mine. She is at least at the thought-fragmenting realm or even higher. Zhou Xiaozhou thought to herself. The female demon landed outside the door of the Thousand Trees treasure vault. As soon as she landed, the guards came forward and bowed respectfully. Welcome, Senior Xine. So this female senior is called Xine. Zhou Xiaozhou thought to herself. Dispense with the formalities. I am here today to take some materials. I don't know if it's possible. As Xine explained, she turned her head and glanced at Zhou Xiaozhou in the distance. Then, she retracted her gaze. She did not seem to mind Zhou Xiaozhou spying on her. Who is this Xine girl? This lady was none other than the female general of the war chariot whom Ning Fan had saved when he was exterminating billions of locusts. Its original form was an ancient mutated Sini wood. His cultivation was at the immortal emperor stage of the eternal six tribulations. Zhou Xiaozhou, who was merely at the Crossing Truth realm, naturally could not see through the depth of her cultivation. On the other side, when they heard that Xine wanted to come to the Thousand Tree treasure vault to take immortal materials, all the guards revealed awkward expressions. We are only responsible for guarding the treasury. Whether or not Senior can use the materials is not up to us. It is up to Lord Commander to decide. Then I'll go see your commander. Xine said. That's great. There is only one thing that I need to report to Senior. If we want to enter the Thousand Trees treasury, we need to hand over the password. This is the rule set by Lady Luo. I hope that Senior will not make things difficult for us. Don't worry, I know the password. I persuaded Heaven Duke to bestow benevolence and righteousness upon me, and Heaven Duke bestowed upon me true Lord Ning. Is that so? Xine asked. Wrong. This is the password from last month. This month, the new password is the sun, moon, and stars. Mere gravel is not even half as good as Senior. I didn't know that this place had changed the password. If that's the case, I'm afraid I'm not qualified to enter this place. Xine said disappointedly. It's alright. Although Senior did not say the correct password, when you talked about Senior Ning, the admiration in your eyes is not fake. So even if the password is wrong, you can still enter. So it can be like this. Xine nodded happily. It can actually be like this. Zhou Xiaozhou, who was far away, did not know where to start ridiculing. If that's the case, we will open the door for Senior. The guard said respectfully. Thank you. By the way, can that wine demon enter this place with me? Xine waved at Zhou Xiaozhou who was far away. Zhou Xiaozhou was stunned. Although she did not know the reason, she still followed Xine. If she could enter this place without any effort, she would naturally not spend so much effort to sneak in. The guards naturally did not dare to make things difficult for Xine. Therefore, under Xine's lead, Zhou Xiaozhou sneaked into the Thousand Trees treasury. Thank you for bringing me into this place, Senior. Zhou Xiaojiu thanked him. You don't have to thank me. The reason I helped you is because you are Senior Ning's junior. Naturally, I will give you more preferential treatment. Xine Nu explained. Senior, you misunderstood me. I am not that guy's junior. Zhou Xiaojiu waved her hand to deny. If you are not Senior Ning's junior, why would you have the rain imprint that he planted on your body? This imprint can fool others and even you, but it definitely cannot fool the existence above the broken thought realm. No, it would be better to say that Senior Ning intentionally displayed this mark for us to see, and it was for the sake of telling us not to act against you. This is a hidden protection. You are very fortunate to have such a senior to protect you. Xine Nu looked at Zhou Xiaojiu with envy. What? What? That guy actually planted his imprint in my body without me even knowing? And I didn't notice it at all. Zhou Xiaojiu was shocked. The more she thought about it, the more scared she became. The more she thought about it, the colder she felt. She was actually planted by Ning Fan. What kind of imprint is this? This is an imprint that can be used to monitor me and hunt me down at any time. I'm doomed. I must be more careful in the future. I must not show any dissatisfaction towards that guy. Otherwise, I will definitely suffer from his revenge. You seem very scared. Xine Nu asked doubtfully. No. I'm not. Xine Nu nodded and said no more. The two of them did not speak a word along the way. They found the tree hole where the leader of the Yi Shao clan stayed and told him their purpose of coming. When he heard that Xine Nu wanted to use the immortal materials here, he was stunned for a moment. Then, he rejected her request. In terms of cultivation level, he was just an early thought fragmentation realm cultivator. He was far weaker than Xine Nu. However, he was confident that Xine Nu would not dare to act rashly in this place because he was the guardian of the Thousand Tree Treasure House appointed by old ancestor Nu Luo. So what if he is an immortal emperor? He is not a local demon of the Xianing Palace. I am the guardian of the Xianing Palace. How can I give the resources of my palace to another palace for no reason? If I really do that, it will be a great disaster. I'm afraid I will be severely punished by old ancestor Nu Luo. Commander, can't you make an exception? Xine Nu asked calmly. Sigh. To tell you the truth, old ancestor Nu Luo has given a strict order. Our palace's resources are not to be given to demons from the outer palace. Senior Xine, please don't make things difficult for me. Old ancestor Nidal pretended to be in a difficult position. Commander, don't be in such a hurry to refuse. Take a closer look at this little friend beside me. What's so special about him? The Xine woman said with deep meaning. Ha, she's just a little demon who has reached the Ascension realm. What's so special about her? Commander Yi Shao scanned Zhou Xiaojiu with his divine senses. At first, his expression was one of contempt. Immediately, he seemed to have sensed something, and his expression changed drastically. He stood up from his seat on the spot, rushed forward, and cupped his fists towards Xine Nu and Zhou Xiaojiu to apologize. My apologies, my apologies. So it turns out that the two of you are Senior Ning's close friends. I hope that the two of you can be magnanimous enough to forgive me for my negligence. Old ancestor Nirua has ordered that if Senior Ning's disciples come here, they must fulfill all of their requests. What immortal materials do the two of you need? There's no harm in getting them yourself. In the end, Zhou Xiaojiu took away a large amount of brewing materials from the Thousand Trees treasure house. However, she wasn't happy. Instead, she felt a little depressed. She felt that she had been used by someone. She had been treated as a tool. Senior Xine, did you already know that as long as I followed you, Commander Yi Shao would definitely give you what you want? Zhou Xiaojiu said with a hint of resentment. I did consider that it would be easier for Commander Yi Shao to talk to you if you followed me. However, I didn't expect him to be 10 times or even 100 times more flexible than I imagined. Senior's reputation has actually shocked all the cultivators to this extent. It's really fascinating, Xin said. Senior, your cultivation level is far higher than mine. Yet, you came to deceive and use a junior like me. Is this good? This is not good. Zhou Xiaojiu was even more resentful. There's a saying in the art of war. Those who are good at war seek power and don't blame people. Therefore, they can choose people and follow their power. As a weapon cultivator, I'm naturally proficient in this Dao. It's not surprising, Xin said calmly. Senior is actually a weapon cultivator. This sect is very rare. Zhou Xiaojiu's interest was piqued by Xin's words. Her annoyance at being treated as a tool was immediately thrown out of the window. It doesn't matter if it's a weapon cultivator or a Dao cultivator. Although the things they do are different, the Dao they seek is the same, Xin said. What a profound statement. Speaking of which, Senior looks like a dull person, but I didn't expect you to be so shrewd. It's really surprising, Zhou Xiaojiu said. The art of war is the path of deceit. If you don't have shrewdness, you won't be able to cultivate the art of war. Although it's deceitful, you don't lose your original heart. You can be considered a true weapon cultivator. Compared to this, I'm more surprised. When a normal person meets a stranger for help, the first thing they should do is to consider the other party's motive. You don't seem to realize that I brought you into the treasure house because I want to cooperate with you. I thought you knew. Xin looked at Zhou Xiaojiu with a surprised expression. She became even more resentful. Although I have the intention to cooperate with you, I actually have the intention to save your life. After all, you're Senior Ning's junior. It's impossible for me to not save you, Xin explained. Save me? Am I in danger? Why do you say that, Senior? Zhou Xiaojiu was confused. If I don't bring you into the treasure house, are you planning to sneak into this place? Xin asked. Are my intentions so obvious? Zhou Xiaojiu was shocked. Yes, it's all written on your face. Do you know that the Thousand Trees treasure house has a hidden killing formation that was personally set up by Ancestor Luo? Although you have some tricks, it's impossible for you to hide from the killing formation and sneak into this place. Once you activate the killing formation, the consequences will be unimaginable. So, I brought you along with me. It's not a win-win situation, but a win-win situation. Is this place really so scary? Zhou Xiaojiu was scared. Otherwise, why do you think that Commander Yi Shao looked down on me? That's why the earth-killing formation is so tricky. Even I, an immortal emperor, can't resist it, let alone you, Xin said. Senior is actually an immortal emperor. I actually talked to an immortal emperor as an equal for so long. Her resentment was swept away. Instead, she felt a little proud. Thank you for saving my life, Senior. Of course, Zhou Xiaojiu still understood the basic gratitude. You don't have to thank me. I've already said that this is a win-win situation. You don't have to thank me. Oh. Zhou Xiaojiu looked at Xin with admiration. Although she didn't really understand what this senior said sometimes, she always felt that this senior was very powerful. As a female cultivator, if she could be like this senior and become a great empress, her life would definitely not be in vain. Oh right, have you found all the ingredients for the wine? Xin asked. No. Zhou Xiaojiu replied. Previously, when you took the immortal ingredients from the Thousand Trees treasure house, you had a troubled look on your face. Was it because you didn't have enough ingredients? Xin asked. Senior's eyes are really sharp. Zhou Xiaojiu replied. How many ingredients do you need? Xin asked. A lot. Zhou Xiaojiu replied. Then follow me. It just so happens that I also want to go to other places to find ingredients. Maybe you can find what you want in those places. Xin said. Thank you, wait. Senior, are you trying to make use of me again? Zhou Xiaozhou asked. Just from a win-win situation, this is a win-win situation. Xian Yinyo said. Forget it. This North Pole Palace seems to be full of danger. If I follow Senior, I won't die carelessly. Zhou Xiaozhou said. Thus, Zhou Xiaozhou, who was afraid of death, agreed to continue being a tool. Speaking of which, why is Senior looking for immortal ingredients everywhere? Zhou Xiaozhou asked. My goal is the same as yours. Xian Yinyo said. Senior knows my goal. Zhou Xiaozhou asked. I know. You are Senior Ning. However, I want to give Senior Ning a treasure. As for you, you probably want to give the wine to Senior Ning. Our goal is the same. Our goal here is to repay Senior Ning's great kindness and grace. This was Xian Yinyo's thought. So Senior and I are in the same boat. Zhou Xiaozhou said with empathy. Our goal is to apologize to Senior Ning so that he won't come after us for revenge. This was Zhou Xiaozhou's thought. The two of them left the Black Pole Palace and entered the third palace, the third palace, the fourth palace, the fourth palace, the fourth palace, the fifth palace, the Great Liang Palace and the sixth. With Zhou Xiaozhou, who was a living signboard, the two women would be treated as distinguished guests by the owner of this place no matter where they went. All of their requests would be granted. Just like that, the two of them went to all the 11 palaces in the North Pole. Only the Star Order Palace was left. Along the way, Xian Yinyo had already found all the ingredients she needed. However, Zhou Xiaozhou was still lacking one ingredient. What a pity. After going to so many places, I still couldn't find the last ingredient. Zhou Xiaozhou was very disappointed. What is the last thing you need? Xian Yinyo asked. It's the heavenly Dao Purple Qi. This item is too rare. It's not surprising that we can't find it. Zhou Xiaozhou said. If the last thing you need is the heavenly Dao Purple Qi, I know where to find it. Where? The palace that we haven't gone to yet. The first palace of the North Pole Palace, the Star Order Palace. Didn't Senior say that the Star Order Palace is very dangerous? Even an immortal emperor like you wouldn't dare to enter. Zhou Xiaozhou said. It's indeed very dangerous. If it's not a native star devil, usually only quasi-saint realm cultivators would dare to enter this place. If an immortal emperor enters, they would most likely die. Xian Yinyo said. It's actually so dangerous. Then we. Zhou Xiaozhou, who was very cowardly and afraid of death, did not want to take the risk of going to the Stellar Order Palace. However, she wanted to brew some good wine for Ning Fan even more. She wanted to end the karma between them and also exchange for what she wanted from Ning Fan and give it to her grandpa Fish Master. If you're just looking for the heavenly law violet qi in the outskirts of the Stellar Order Palace, I don't mind accompanying you, Xian Yinyo said. Senior is willing to go with me. But didn't you already find what you needed? There's no need for us to work together anymore, right? Is there any special reason to take such a huge risk? Zhou Xiaozhou asked doubtfully. In terms of generality, I have no reason to continue helping you. However, there is a senior who used his own actions to teach me one thing. I can't just sit back and watch a fool who is seeking his own death. If I don't go with you, you'll go alone, right? Senior, you are so handsome. Zhou Xiaozhou was touched. The senior who taught me this is really handsome. Xian Yinyo's cold face showed a trace of fascination. She was the senior that Zhou Xiaozhou longed for. However, Ning Fan was the senior that she looked up to. Thus, the two of them went all the way to the Stellar Order Palace. With Zhou Xiaozhou who carried the Mark of Rain accompanying them, the Star Devils of the Stellar Order Palace who had always been arrogant did not dare to stop the two of them from entering the palace. The Stellar Order Palace was the core of the 12 Arctic palaces. The environment of this palace was completely different from the other 11 palaces. In this place, there was no earth or sky. There was only primal chaos in the surroundings. Within that primal chaos, there were countless amounts of purple chi and yellow chi. The purple chi was called the heavenly law violet chi. It was the appearance of the heavenly law that had yet to take form. The yellow chi was called the earth pillar chi. It was the appearance of the earth pillar that had yet to take form. The purple and yellow chi were unusually violent and wild. If anyone gets close to it, they would be attacked by the boundless purple and yellow chi. It was extremely dangerous. If it was just this level of danger, Xinu would not be so afraid. However, in the past, in order to resist the attack of the devils on the Devil Conferral Summit, Old Demon Duo had detonated the lightning transformation pool of the Stellar Order Palace and released the Sea of Origin lightning within it. That was the true terror. It was something that could even severely injure the great devils on the Devil Conferral Summit. The Sea of Origin lightning was colorless and formless. It also had no chi. It was very difficult for one to sense where the Sea of Origin lightning was dissipating in the primal chaos of the Stellar Order Palace. It was very difficult for one to know when and where the formless Sea of Origin lightning would attack. It was said that one could only see how beautiful and dazzling the Sea of Origin lightning was at the moment of death. Is this the Stellar Order Palace? The heaven and earth spirit chi is actually so disorderly. Jiu Xiaojiu's face was filled with shock as she looked at the primal chaos in front of her. She had never seen such a disorderly place before. The spirit chi was disorderly. The flow of time and space was disorderly. The heavenly law violet chi that she needed was floating not far in front of her. However, she did not dare to reach out to collect it. Her hair stood on end. She did not dare to act recklessly. It was as if there was a formless danger threatening her. Once she reached out, she would die. You are right not to reach out recklessly. Just 3 steps in front of you, there is a wisp of origin lightning dissipating. Once you move forward, you will die instantly. Of course, you have the mark of rain in your body. Even if you die here, that mark should be able to protect a trace of your demon soul from being destroyed and give you a chance to reconstruct your body. Based on this alone, Senior Ning is really good to you. Xinu said. So the mark in my body is actually so useful. Jiu Xiaojiu's eyes were filled with confusion. Initially, she thought that Ning Fan planted the mark on her to hunt her down and settle the scores with her later on. Now, it seemed like that was not the case. Did I misunderstand Ning Fan? Is that person not as bad as he seems to be on the surface? By the way, didn't Senior say that the Sea of Origin lightning that dissipates in this place is not visible? Why can you see it 3 steps away from here? Jiu Xiaojiu asked doubtfully. Even though the Sea of Origin lightning in this place is not visible, I can infer the layout of the Sea of Origin lightning through the flow of the spiritual chi. Xinu explained. It should be very difficult to infer this from the chaotic flow of spiritual chi, right? Jiu Xiaojiu asked. It's very difficult. Weapon cultivators like us are the best at the Tao of battle formations and force. What we cultivate is nothing more than formations and force. However, even I can only infer the layout of the Sea of Origin lightning within 10 steps from here. I can't do it any further. Besides, every time I make a deduction, I will need to spend a lot of time and effort. You must stay by my side. In this place, you can't simply take a single step. Remember this. Oh. Jiu Xiaojiu nodded. We will just move around the periphery of the Star Order Palace. Don't go any deeper. Unfortunately, most of the heavenly Tao purple chi in the periphery has been tainted by the Sea of Origin lightning. It can't be collected. If we want to find a trace of the tainted purple chi that we can collect, we will need to make countless calculations. Xinu said. Thus, the 2 of them moved at a speed that was countless times slower than the crawl of a tortoise. Occasionally, there would be some chaotic purple chi and yellow chi that attacked them, but they were all dispersed by Xinu. 2 hours later, the 2 of them had moved around 100 steps. Xinu had 3 more light injuries on her body while Jiu Xiaojiu was unscathed. 4 hours later, the 2 of them had moved around 70 steps. Xian Inu had 4 more light injuries while Zhou Xiaozhou was still safe. 6 hours later, the two of them had moved another 50 steps. Xian Inu had suffered another serious injury. At this moment, Zhou Xiaozhou felt guilty and blamed herself. How could she not see that Senior Xian Inu's mental state was greatly damaged? It was obvious that she had overcalculated. Due to the increasing frequency of the purple and yellow qi attacks, Senior Xian Inu was already finding it difficult to resist. If Xian Inu was alone, she would not be so hard to resist after moving such a distance. However, who asked Xian Inu to bring a burden into this place? With one more person, the danger would not be as simple as 1 plus 1. Instead, it would increase exponentially. Wanting to calculate the safe route for 2 people at the same time was also countless times more difficult. I'm sorry. Zhou Xiaozhou said. Shoo, don't talk. Did you hear any strange sounds? Xian Inu asked. Did I? I didn't hear anything. Is it my misconception? Forget it. According to my calculations, if we move in this direction for another 5 steps, we will be able to collect a trace of pure purple qi. Once we get it, we will leave. Thank you. You're welcome. 1 step. 2 steps. 3 steps. 4 steps. 5 steps. The two of them finally arrived in front of a trace of pure purple qi. Before Zhou Xiaozhou could collect the purple qi, a sudden change occurred. An invisible wind pressure suddenly swept out from the inside of the Star Order Palace. That wind pressure made the originally chaotic heavenly Tao purple qi even more chaotic. The pattern of the purple qi had undergone a huge change. Don't reach out your hand. The pattern of the purple qi has changed. Someone doesn't want us to take away the purple qi in this place. That's why they changed the pattern of this place. Xian Inu was shocked. Who could actually do such a terrifying thing? Asterisk buzz asterisk asterisk buzz asterisk asterisk buzz asterisk. After the wind pressure, an endless ear-piercing buzzing sound came from the depths of the Star Order Palace. That was the sound of the great Tao that surpassed the second step. There's a very terrifying thing in the depths of the Star Order Palace. It's the thing that doesn't allow us to take away the purple qi in this place. Xian Inu seemed to have sensed something and her face turned cold. How terrifying is it? Is it scarier than Ning Fan? Zhou Xiaozhou asked timidly. What kind of analogy is this? Xian Inu was puzzled. It was because she felt that Ning Fan was not scary at all. Instead, he was very amiable and respectable. On the other hand, the terror of the thing in the depths of the Star Order Palace had already exceeded her understanding. Asterisk buzz asterisk asterisk buzz asterisk asterisk buzz asterisk. The sound of the great Tao became more intense. It was as if it was urging them to leave. That thing seems to want us to leave as soon as possible. Xian Inu said with an unpleasant expression. Can we do it? Zhou Xiaozhou really wanted to cry. She shouldn't have come to this place. She shouldn't have dragged Senior Xian Inu into danger. It's very difficult. That thing's rage has disrupted the pattern of this place. The route that we took to enter this place can no longer be used to leave. We have to calculate the route to leave again. And this is definitely not something that can be done in a short period of time. Xian Inu said. Then, what should we do now? I don't know. Not good. It's coming. Under Xian Inu's horrified gaze, a ray of black light dashed towards them from the deepest part of the Star Order Palace. It was not afraid of the lightning of the origin that was hidden in the surroundings. It was not afraid of the chaotic purple qi. It was rushing towards them in the shortest straight line between 2 points. Its imposing manner was unparalleled. Even the sea of lightning of the origin that could scare off the great ancient demons was disrupted by this thing. What kind of arrogant and terrifying existence was hiding in this place? Xian Inu looked at the direction where that thing was coming from as if it was facing a formidable enemy. It's getting closer. It's getting closer and closer. The closer that thing was, the calmer Xin Inu's expression became. In the face of life and death, she was indifferent. The only thing she was considering was not her own life but how to safely send Zhou Xiaojiu away from this place. Zhou Xiaojiu was protected by Senior Ning's imprint. In this case, she should be able to protect a wisp of Zhou Xiaojiu's demon soul and safely escape. This black shadow that was getting closer and closer, it seemed to be a little familiar. Under Xin Inu's astonished gaze, the mysterious and ferocious creature that she regarded as a dreadful beast had arrived in front of her. It was something very familiar. Xin Inu had seen this thing not long ago. It was a small black ball. What is this? Zhou Xiaojiu was scared silly by the small black ball. She saw with her own eyes that the small black ball crushed countless purple and yellow qi along its way. It even caused the origin of lightning to let out endless buzzing sounds. It was a kind of, almost indestructible and unstoppable approach. That kind of aura made one feel despair. It made one wonder if there was anyone in this world who could stop this thing and subdue it. It was 10,000 times more ferocious and terrifying than the aura of her grandfather when he kills people. Don't be afraid. We should be fine. Xin Inu said calmly. Senior, what do you mean? Zhou Xiaojiu asked in confusion. Because, this is Senior Ning's item. Therefore, it shouldn't hurt us. Senior, please don't joke around. That fellow, Ning Fan. How could Senior Ning subdue such a terrifying magic treasure? Zhou Xiaojiu expressed her disbelief. Subconsciously, she wanted to address Ning Fan disrespectfully. However, when she recalled the protection of the imprint of rain in her body, she unconsciously changed the way she addressed him. This isn't a magic treasure. I also don't know what it is exactly. This item originally belonged to a quasi-saint locust demon at the reincarnation realm. Or perhaps it was actually this black ball that possessed that locust demon. After that locust died and this ball was subdued by Senior Ning. In short, it shouldn't hurt us. Xin Inu said. Senior's words are so confusing. I don't understand. In short, we are safe now, right? Zhou Xiaojiu asked. Drip 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 the black ball revolved around the two of them. Even though it could not speak, Zhou Xiaojiu could faintly feel that this black ball had a human-like mind. It seemed like it was condemning the two of them for taking the purple qi without permission. Is it reprimanding us? Zhou Xiaojiu asked. Perhaps. I don't really understand its mind. However, Senior Ning seems to understand it very well. Senior's means are really profound. Xin Inu said admiringly. Drip drip the small black ball revolved for a long time and finally stopped revolving around the two of them. It seemed to have calmed down. Or perhaps, it finally sensed the qi of Ning Fan's imprint from Zhou Xiaojiu's body. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Waves of black great Tao fluctuations spread out from the small black ball's body. Under the fluctuations of the great Tao, the chaotic purple and yellow qi and the invisible origin lightning began to disperse into the distance. In the void of primal chaos, a path paved with black great Tao fluctuations appeared. It probably wants us to follow this path to the depths of the Star Order Palace. Xin Inu said. Should we go? I'm a little scared. Zhou Xiaojiu said timidly. I'm not scared. Instead, I'm looking forward to it. Xin Inu said. Looking forward to it? Did I hear it wrongly? You're looking forward to it. What are you looking forward to? Since this ball is here, its owner might be here as well. What I'm looking forward to is naturally seeing Senior Ning in the depths of the Star Order Palace. Xin Inu said. Senior Ning is here. I heard that he has been busy repairing a magic treasure recently. I don't think he has the time to come here, right? Zhou Xiaojiu said. Or perhaps, Senior is here to repair a great treasure. We'll know once we get there. Xin Inu said. But I still think it's better not to enter this place recklessly. Senior, wait for me. Before Zhou Xiaojiu could stop her, Xin Inu had already flown towards the depths of the Star Order Palace along the path paved by the small black ball. Without any other choice, Zhou Xiaojiu could only brace herself and continue forward.